You know how like people like guns like underneath the cover or like nice places. She's gonna put the papers like that, and if y'all fight it, she's just like,
Um,
what's this?
she puts it under my dinner plate at our wedding. Oh man. She says I put it under your pillow like the tooth fairy.
That's funny.
Like the tooth fairy.
Oh my god.
That's wild.
It sounded like she was printing out money, man. like goddamn Dimitri from Sly 2.
Oh my god.
Sammy Bills.
Oh man, we're starting off fresh and hot this morning. Love it.
All right, now we're live on the appropriate channel.
We're home? Okay, we're home.
We're home.
Feels cozy in here.
Nice and cozy.
We're not cold and we're not shimmering. Shimmering
Check the audio.
God damn. Y'all are mean today.
Oh man.
Okay.
That's Gambit is on sale. That's a game. That's a Soulsy game, right? That's a Dark Soulsy game.
I feel like I've never heard of that game before.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a 2D platformer. It's like very Soulsy. Reminds me of like a Vigil, kind of. It's pixelated a little bit. Never really touched it. It came out during that time where like there was like 100 Souls-like games. Like everyone was making Souls-like. Not like they're not making them now because there's still a lot of them now, but it was during like the rise.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a sale going on.
All right.
Testing. For Macho, testing.
Yeah, what happened to Macho, man? He fell asleep.
Phil, hey man, got served.
You know he's getting old, man. So I wouldn't put it past him.
Can't expect man to get in his chair on time. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're awake. Okay.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, my bad.
Nah,
I put it as what was it like? Yeah, we're good. Let's not worry about it.
Did you take your pills?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. You think
It's the red ones, right? It's the red ones.
That's like, it reminds me of that. There's a video that says, how do I know if I have Alzheimer's? And the links are already purple. And you're just, oh no.
You remember that one. Woo.
All right, man. Let's get started with this. Guys, welcome back to the 43rd. Yeah, the 43rd episode of the DualShock Sense Podcast. Also, our first episode of 2022, man. Very excited for the year ahead, man. With me, as always, obviously, I got my two co-hosts. Walt, how you doing, man?
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the new year. New me? I don't know. Is it new you? Maybe. Manga maniac over here. We're reading a lot. I'm caught up. I have a backlog for both video games and manga. So this year we gotta get through them. We're ready to talk video games. Today's special day for the podcast. Why? Well, you'll see. Right after Macho. I don't know if Macho wants to talk. I don't want to let him talk because he's all right. I'm kidding. I'm doing good. I
Macho.
hope we could.
The way Walt came out of the gate with that introduction was a little weird to me, man. I gotta admit. But anyway, we also got Macho. What's going on, man?
It's definitely a new man. I'm doing good. What's going on, everybody? It's the King of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic, and Fiance just looked at me and just rolled her eyes. That's how 22 is going. Yeah, no, that's how 2022 is going right now. But it's good. No, it's a good first week. I'm excited for the new year and for the podcast. It's gonna be good stuff, man. I got some really exciting news though, fellas. Tonight it's gonna be very exciting. It's something happening. It's awesome. It's gonna be very loud. It's gonna be very exciting and enthralling. You might be saying it might be an out of body experience.
If it has anything to do with Final Fantasy 14, I'm shutting off the podcast.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with Final Fantasy 14. It has something to do with just including me and my fiance, right? Like I said, it's gonna be very loud, very exciting.
Oh man, what the hell?
We're Final Fantasy 7 remake concert.
Oh, okay.
And I'm so excited.
Yo, I don't know about you, Macho, but Soul's mine is somewhere. I don't know what happened.
Whoa, what were you thinking, buddy?
You know what? Let's move on, man. Let's move on. Listen, I'm your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus. And yeah, man, this is DualShock Sense, and we're gonna essentially this episode of this podcast is gonna be a little bit different from what we do typically. This is gonna be our Game of the Year awards for 2021, looking back and kind of picking out the greatest and the not so good things about the year. So yeah, we have a bunch of categories lined up for you guys, and then next week what we are planning to do is do our personal top 10 games of 2021, you know, go through each of them and talk about them a little bit, however we decide to break that up, as well as give our most anticipated lists for 2022, so kind of like looking ahead to the year ahead. And so yeah, that's sort of the plan for the next 2 weeks. Very, very exciting. Very excited for this podcast specifically because I don't know what you guys picked for these categories. So yeah, I'm chopping at the bit for this one. But yeah, man, we are gonna begin the podcast like we always do and talk about the games that we played over the break. Did you guys get a chance to sort of like chip away at the backlog, or what did you guys do over the break?
Get off, Macho. Get off.
You want me to start? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir, I know you got that Final Fantasy in stock. I want you to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, to chip away at some bits, right? I actually got the Platinum in Scarlet Nexus, so that was a nice accomplishment. And then just last night, beat the first game of 2022 with my fiance. We beat It Takes Two again, and we got the Platinum Trophy last night. So it was that game is just I can't wait to talk about it more next week. I'll just say that. But the game I've been playing for most of December, really just about all of December, and probably all for January, depending on how I feel. Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. My God, what this game has done for just MMOs, for the Final Fantasy story in general, just bringing like all the new stuff added to it is absolutely incredible. And I kind of wish I was going to a Final Fantasy 14 concert tonight. I'm not going to lie, man. Because the music in Endwalker is just absolutely one of the best soundtracks in any Final Fantasy game. The story just goes above and beyond what I was expecting. Even touches on, like, one of the things I love about 14 is that it loves to take its time and letting you really be, like, in the moment with the characters. There's not really, like, a rushing, like, a sort of moment that, like, so from Kingdom Hearts 3, one of the things I really didn't like about it was the sense of urgency really like took away the moments with the characters, in my opinion. And 14 Endwalker, there's a sense of urgency, but they give you like the time to actually spend with the characters that you've been with for years at this point. You know, it's essentially like the culmination of like an 11-year story arc, and you're given enough time to actually explore with the characters and each one of them too, as well as even play as some of the characters during certain like mission sequences, which is really cool. And then just the whole flip of the switch narrative, right? I thought this whole thing was going to happen one way, and it happened completely differently and in a lot more wholesome. It was in the way they left it off too. It's just such a perfect way to keep you interested and keep you biting at the heels of like the world of Final Fantasy 14. But really satisfied with the arc that they had with like these two primal like goddesses, so to speak. So yeah, man, it's absolutely incredible. I can't believe they actually pulled it off, and it was this good. I can't talk more about it, like how good it is and everything. But yeah, man, that's really been my journey with Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker for the past month in December, and I'm excited to talk more about it next week too, man. And so I'll just leave it at that.
Cool. Um, yeah, it's so cool because I've been watching, some podcasts just around the industry, and yeah, just hearing people talk about like just the love for that game, man. It's just like so prevalent. It really feels like in an age of like live service games, it really feels rare that like FF14 is like the one that's like doing it right above all others. So yeah, man, that's really dope. So yeah, for me, not too, I honestly didn't do too much gaming over the break. I don't know, I just didn't feel like much motivation, but I did finish off Solar Ash. I don't know if Walt, if you got around to doing that.
Yes, sir.
You did. Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. Especially like the ending blew me away, man. Just
100%.
yeah, just finding out like okay, like what the true purpose of the Star Seed is and what it does. Finding
Who
out
Echo is.
who Echo is. Yeah, all that stuff like really blew me away. And then having the choice at the end, right, to destroy it or activate it. Yeah, and it sort of being low key a time loop game at the end, right?
Essentially.
Yeah,
Essentially.
so yeah, the
Depending on
ending,
your choice.
right. The ending absolutely blew me away. And it moved like firmly into my top 10 games of 2021.
There
So
you
yeah,
go.
Solar Ash was cool. I got a little bit deeper into Pray for the Gods. This game is one thing I'll say about it right off the bat is it's already like the one of the best implementations of the DualSense, surprisingly. Which is something I did not expect.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
like it really like I feel like not a lot of games have been using like the microphone, but like when you're near like a specific like rare item, it'll do like a little twinkle in the controller, which is pretty cool to help you know that you're close to something. When you're walking on snow, you feel the crunch of the snow and your feet like moving through it. It's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is which is cool. Like just that the fact that this little game is doing that, something that I feel like most games really aren't doing right now. I really appreciate it. It reminds me that oh yeah, the DualSense is something, you know. So so yeah,
Mm.
that game is pretty cool. The survival mechanics, you have to worry about because it's the whole game takes place during like this blizzard, so you have to worry about finding heat to keep yourself warm, keeping yourself fed. You have to sleep as well. I'm only a few hours into it, but I'm enjoying that stuff. It hasn't become annoying yet, so it adds like a new sort of like layer to the game and makes it feel like a little bit more like immersive, I guess. Like I'm actually like almost like not to the same degree as like a Red Dead, but it's like I'm kind of like in that mindset where I'm just like constantly worrying about okay, I gotta go hunt this rabbit so I can feed my character. Okay, let me build a fire inside of this cave so I can warm up a little bit, right? It kind of has that similar effect where I'm just like completely like soaked up and like enraptured into this world, which I find really cool. So yeah, Pray for the Gods. The big game that I've been playing like recently is Dragon Age Inquisition. Because randomly, I want to say like maybe a week and a half ago, I just had this urge. Like I started up Mass Effect 1 again. Because my two playthroughs through the entire trilogy have been with female shepherds, so I was like, okay, let me try male shepherd now. And let me tell you, it was so hard to actually go through with that because like female shepherd is so fucking good. And I was like sitting at the character
Facts.
creation screen, and I was like, I can't do it, man. But I went through it with it anyway. I went male shepherd, and his voice is so fucking boring, man, in comparison. Like,
Dang.
I know. I
yeah,
know.
yeah. So yeah, so I've been playing a little bit as male shepherd, but my biggest thing with that is like, man, like I really just want to play another game like Mass Effect and like an RPG of that, sort of caliber. I looked at Greedfall, ultimately did not go through with that because I heard that game had a lot of problems. So I went to Dragon Age instead, and I have like 24 hours into it. So obviously I'm enjoying something, but I got a bunch of issues with that game, man. So I won't get into it here. I think I'll save it for the next podcast. But yeah, Dragon Age has a ton of issues in comparison to Mass Effect. Specifically the presentation, man. Like I feel like it's incredible to me that a game like Mass Effect 1 that came out in 2007 just has a better, it feels more cinematic in its presentation, as opposed to Dragon Age Inquisition that came out in 2014. Like the game, its cutscenes have like no life to it at all, man. It just feels like it's just like, I don't know, two poorly made puppets just like on screen, just like twitching and like dancing and moving around, man. Like it has like no life to it at all, as opposed to to Mass Effect, right? Like I'm in every single conversation. I'm paying attention to like every single conversation. But I don't know. There's just something about Dragon Age that like, I don't know. I'm just detached from, as soon as people start talking, I just like barely care. It's weird. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's I kind of got that same thing when I tried out Dragon Age Inquisition for the first time. I forgot. I probably bought it and it was buyer's remorse and returned it back because I remember actually owning it and then playing it and then I was like, this is just boring.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's incredible. Again, like comparing it to even Mass Effect 1, which is the game that's like mostly like in my memory right now, just like how dated Inquisition already looks, man. Like that game looks ugly. The character models specifically just look awful. So
Jesus.
yeah, man. But at the same time, it must be doing something right because I've spent 24 hours in it already. So but yeah, man. That's Dragon Age. I also played like like 20 minutes of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus.
Whoa.
I wanna really get into that game. I don't know when, but I will at some point. But yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's out of left field. I did not expect that.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, it's not surprising that a light novel would interest you in some way because I know it's very story heavy and it's like, I know that you're very much into narratives and whatnot, but I never expected Doki Doki Literature Club.
Hey man, I've heard wild things about it, so I wanna.
Oh yeah, it is a
Yeah.
wild experience. I haven't played it, but I've seen playthroughs of it, and I've also considered it, but I don't know. There's something stopping me, but I can't wait for it to hear your thoughts when you get to it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's it for me. What about you, Walt?
Well, to piggyback off one of the games you mentioned, Solar Ash, I have to express also my love for that game, and I am attempting to get platinum on it. The only thing that's stopping me at the moment to get it anytime soon is two specific trophies. One being hardcore, beating the game on hardcore, and one the speed run. The speed run is the least intensive of the two because with the speed run you have a layout that you can follow, and I'm not terrible at the game. I got pretty good towards the end because the bosses get a bit more ridiculous as you go through. But with hardcore mode, you know how during the third phases the goop starts to glow, and if you touch it, you die?
Yeah.
That happens in the first phase. So by the time that you're starting the boss, it's already on its third phase actions. So you're beating the boss with its third phase attacks and mechanics, and you have to do it faster because the timer for you to get to one needle to the other is cut like in half. So before you had like 2 seconds, now you have like 0.5 seconds, or you have 1 second. So there's really little margin for error. And I feel like that's like a Returnal situation where I have to be in the mindset to do certain things because it's so precise and stressful. I can't just like pick an hour and just do that. But I love the game regardless. I love how after you do the ending, the one including with Echo, you get the not talking too much about it, not getting into spoilers just in case, but like the skin itself that you get and how it very much represents a lot about the character and the purpose of the interactions between you and Echo. Um, the game at the beginning of the holidays that I really played a lot, and I mean a lot, for like 4 days straight, was FF14 and trying to get through the still the beginning of that game. Which, granted, I am excited because I always hear how Realm Reborn is the slowest and probably like quote unquote like the worst part of all these stories. Yet
Mm-hmm.
I find myself enjoying it so damn much. I
Mm-hmm.
am loving the characters. I am loving the plot lines. Like even the music because I'm excited because I hear the Endwalker, Stormbringers, or Shadowbringers rather. They all have fantastic OSTs and stories. In my mind, I'm like, holy crap! Like, what is it? Because this is great. I can't begin to imagine how fantastic it gets. So I'm really excited to get to that. Um, After I played that for the first few weeks, I I got more into SMT5. It's been a very JRPG heavy holiday, and I've mainly focused on them because if I do, there's only so much you can do when you play a JRPG because they're so big. I played more SMT5. Honestly, I remember mentioning that the story was whatever at the beginning. It's starting to pick up, and I'm starting to really enjoy it. It's a classic heaven versus hell kind of situation, but I like the characters. I like the demons themselves. They're like the personas from Persona. So those characters, they are the demons in this case. They all have personalities. So it's not just uh like a Pixie, Pixie, the little fairy. It's not that Pixie. Oh, she's manipulating these humans, and you need to defeat her. No, she has like a purpose. Oh, they see me as a god, and they want to worship me. And there's an opposing demon that doesn't believe in Pixie's motivations. So you have to side with either one, depending on who you side. You have to kill the opposite demon, and then the one that you help joins your party. So there's a lot of this. There's a good amount of decision making in regards to that. Little minor, but it's keeps me invested. Uh, and more towards the end of the holidays, and more recent that I got to play and start was Chorus, which is a space combat video game, and it's my first ever space combat video game. Uh, that game is one of the most beautiful games that I've played in a while. Uh, I'm a sucker for sci-fi, and the imagery during when you're in space, the colonies that you're around, the infrastructures, the unique setting. I am loving it. There seems to be a good story in there. I haven't delved too much into it, but there seems like to be hints, layers of different kinds of themes, different kinds of motivations from characters. Even a side quest. When you start the game, there's a good maybe like 10 minutes where you're just following like like a tutorial. You're following this voice. There's a other person on the intercoms that's talking to you, and you get a little bit of story. But once you're let go and you're in the open world where you can get quests and explore, the first side quest that I got was this lady that she was like, for all time's sake, can you help me move this shipment over here? And you essentially work as a bodyguard for her. But then during that mission that she owes some pirates some money. So, and one of the pirates comes by to collect that money, and she's like, I don't have it. And she puts you on the spot, and she's like, could you help me with this one? And you can choose to either let the pirate do his thing or give from your money to that pirate, and then this lady will probably be in debt to you. I don't know how far that goes. So far it's really interesting. Beautiful game. The music is outstanding. Um, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm trying to only dip my toes into good games and try to avoid as many. I've tried Dragon Age in the past, and I've many times I've tried to get it back into it, but I realized just it's a bit sluggish for me, and I just gave up. So whenever I get the chance like this, where you're trying it out, Soul, I can't wait to hear more about it because I want reasons to play games that I didn't enjoy the first time, similar to Dragon's Dogma. I was at a friend's house, I tried it, it was whatever, but then I hear you talk about it, and there's some interesting parts to it, so I'm a bit more interested. Uh, but other than that, man, yeah, it's been FF14, SMT5, and Chorus. It's a nice little back and forth that I've been doing. And mad props to oh my God, the composer of Chorus, Pedro Camacho. That guy's amazing. That guy does the work. And Fish Labs, let me tell you, they made a great space combat, and my first ever, so I can't wait to get more into it. But yeah, man, that's my holidays. It's been chill in the video games. Not too many. I don't want to get burnt out, so playing just a few. Playing just a few.
Nice, nice. All right, man. So, and yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Chorus as well. So that's definitely on the list of things that I will like to try at some point.
For sure, for sure.
But yeah, man, let's get into these awards, man, because this might take a while. So yeah, the sooner we start, the better. So yeah, man, we got a bunch of categories for you guys to sift through. So I'm thinking a good place to start. Do you guys want to start with the best gun in Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
Sounds simple enough. Yeah.
We're specifically Rift Apart, though, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right, cool.
Right.
Yeah, we can start with that. Let's do the best gun in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Cool. And we don't have any awards to or physical awards to give out to these developers like the Keeleys or anything like that. So so this is all they get, man. It's just us saying which one's the best.
They get a full-on podcast. That's enough.
Exactly. So yeah, man. I think for the audience, I'm going to pull up the entire list of guns that was in the game. So once again, this is the category that we're talking about is the best gun in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. For a reminder, the guns in Rift Apart were the Burst Pistol, the Shatter Bomb, the Enforcer, Mr. Fungi, Negatron Collider, the Topiary Sprinkler, the Ricochet, the Lightning Rod, Drill Hound, Void Repulsor, Glove of Doom, Buzz Blades, Cold Snap, Warmonger, Bombardier, Black Hole Storm, Headhunter, Rhino 8, Bouncer, and the Pixelizer. So we are going to shoot off just like a couple of guns that we think should be in the list, and then we'll whittle it down from there. So guys, what are some guns that stood out to you in the game that you want to see on the list?
Make it a bit more, I guess, just in case, a less confusing. Best gun slash water bomb, things like that, or Mr. Topiary,
Man.
are not guns. just to put that out there.
So Walt, what do you want to call in this category? The best the best gun, slash best grenade slash
best weapon, best gun, best.
No. You're right. Best weapon in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So since I mentioned that, I'll start
Man of
off.
semantics over here.
No, here's the thing. It's because my favorite ones are not guns. My favorite ones are not guns. They're weapons. They're just like, okay. The couple that I chose were Mr. Fungi. I'm a fan of familiars. I'm a fan of having that automated, whether that be weapon or companion that you can shoot out on the field and can help you out and kind of can divert some fire from yourself or some aggro. Topiary Sprinkler. It's such an interesting concept of a weapon, and I really, really enjoyed using that one in conjunction with Mr. Fungi. I'm feeling lazy, and I would just throw the Sprinkler and then Mr. Fungi, and that would just clean up the entire premises. And then favorite gun is the Ricochet. And reason for that is a major part is the DualSense.
Yeah.
Because when you shoot it, you have to time it, and if you time it, the DualSense actually feels more satisfying than if you were to miss it. So it encourages you to actually get good with this gun. So that would be my favorite gun. To keep it short and simple: Ricochet, Mr. Fungi, and Topiary Sprinkler.
I'm gonna piggyback off of that and say that the Ricochet is also my number one because yeah, I like that you actually have to like work with the DualSense to like set that gun off, right? You have to pull the trigger down like multiple times in order to you know, get the most out of that gun. And I think it's a pretty cool like little wrinkle. It's not just you just simply pressing down the trigger once, right? Like you actually have to
Exactly.
like work multiple times to get the most out of that weapon. So yeah, the Ricochet would also be one of my favorites. Another one is the Buzz Blades. That is a sort of a mainstay in the Ratchet and Clank series. So I've just always had a pretty big affinity for it. And yeah, I remember also it feeling pretty good controller wise. But yeah, it's just badass. You're just launching a bunch of like goddamn saws or whatever they are towards people, and it's just like it's not even just like a straight, you know, shot or whatever. Just the way in which they do it, it's like little like multiple arcs coming in like every single like direction. Just the way that, you know, that they're fired off is just so like, I don't know, visually pleasing. So yeah, I really dig the Buzz Blades. And then the last one, which I feel like maybe won't make the list, but I don't know. I always sort of found myself going back to this gun specifically just because like it was just fun to use. And that's the Negatron Collider, which was basically just like this it almost looked like the Mega Man like Buster or whatever. And it essentially it just like launched a giant ass like laser like at people. Like that's literally all it was, right? Like it's not anything special, but like in terms of just like a crowd control kind of thing, like it was just fun just shooting off like a giant goddamn laser and just like spinning around in a circle and just like letting it hit everyone in the area. So yeah, that one is also just like one of the guns I feel like I use the most. So yeah, the Negatron Collider, and yeah, that would be my list. The Ricochet, Buzz Blades, and the Negatron Collider. What about you, Macho?
Yeah, Mr. Fungi is one that sticks out to me so much. Not just because of the visual aesthetics, it's just super fun to just throw out there, but it's the same vein of like Glove of Doom for me, where you just have like your little guys just go out there. Well, Mr. Fungi like takes all the hits for you, and it's kind of like the distraction. The Gloves of Doom are just like little minions just want to just swarm your enemies. It's incredibly fun to just watch and just throw out there. But one of the things I loved about Mr. Fungi is not just obviously, you know, throwing it out there and see what happens, but also because of the description. Because the descriptions for these weapons are so clever. The way they're written is just like they make me want to use them just because of how they're written. And
Right.
Mr. Fungi specifically is, quote, tired of being the life of the party? Mr. Fungi is here to help. He'll attack your enemies so hard that they might forget you even exist if focused entirely on him. Like, what a way to like really sell the point of like, yeah, this is the weapon that's going to distract your enemies for you, so you don't have to worry about them for a little bit.
Right.
You know, like I love the writing for these weapons.
Yeah, descriptions are not like your typical fact. You know, matter of fact, this is what it does. It's like a sales pitch. It's like you're in the market and they're like, "Ah, you see this baby? It slaps car." Salesman, you know.
Yeah, and I like that you guys mentioned the DualSense capabilities with some of the weapons, because the one out there is the Pixelizer.
Oh,
I never used that. Wasn't that like a pre-order kind of thing?
Maybe. I'm not sure actually, but I think you still unlock in the game though. You just have to, you just have to buy it for whatever amount of bolts.
Okay.
But yeah, so the pixelizer essentially just it does what it does. It's you shoot the weapon and then it pixelizes your enemies. So obviously it gets old pretty fast. But the thing that I love about it is the DualSense, where if you're just holding on to the trigger, and you don't actually let go of the shot, you start to hear like the not the controller but the button hum, which is like insane to me. Like if you guys go back to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, just get the pixelizer, hold down the trigger, and just wait. And then you hear the button hum, man. And it's so cool. Like it's like little details like that I just love about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And the pixelizer is definitely up there for me. So I'll say the Gloves of Doom, Mr. Fungi, and the pixelizer just for the DualSense.
Okay.
All right, so the list goes as follows: the Topiary Sprinkler, Mr. Fungi, the Ricochet, Buzzblades, the Negatron Collider, and the Pixelizer. I also want to add, I think we can't have a list of the best Ratchet and Clank guns without adding the Rhino 8. Like, talk about just one of the coolest ideas, like taking advantage of the sort of context within this specific Ratchet and Clank game of it being ripped apart, these, the dimensions, things from other dimensions coming into Ratchet and Rivet's, timeline or whatever. Taking advantage of that and bringing in characters from different franchises in general is so cool, man. So yeah, I feel like we have to, the fact that the Thunderjaw from Horizon was brought in, obviously Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, it's so cool. So yeah, I feel like
I lost my stuff when I saw Sly Cooper, man. I was like, what?
Oh man.
And the Sly van.
Oh yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, so for sure we gotta add that one. But okay, so now comes the tough part. We gotta whittle this down to a top 3. So
there's a couple that overlapped between two lists, which were Ricochet and Mr. Fungi. At least 2 people had those 2.
And that's why I think those probably make our top 3, because we have multiple people, vying for them.
Very good.
I will say I will cut the Negatron Collider. It's one of those personal things that I really enjoy. But it's not anything like too special, right? It's just a giant laser that shoots out. So I'm perfectly fine with cutting that one out.
I would cut
Same
out
for me
also,
with Pixelizer, actually.
Yeah, I was about to say Topiary Sprinkler. You can cut that because that one's very personal because it's so. That one I feel like I wouldn't vote for on a public poll. It's more so of like a personal thing, and I wouldn't expect. Like,
it's so cool though. I feel like that one is also pretty good at crowd control, but also just like like a lot of the guns in Rift Apart admittedly are like not like they're not like the quote unquote like the best in the franchise, but I feel like Topiary Sprinkler in terms of like creativity is definitely up there.
Because here's the thing with these guns, I always judge them also on what it does to every enemy, and I like guns that have a different outcome or have the same outcome for every single enemy, including bosses. So even when you're fighting a boss with the Topiary Sprinkler, sometimes they will become, all mossy and they'll stop on their place. Because, usually in video games, when you use a certain gun that does a certain effect on normal grunts, on a boss, it'll just do damage. It won't do anything visually. So with it's like with the dance gun, and I forgot the name, Groovatron, whatever, on the other Ratchet and Clank, where you throw the bomb.
Oh yeah.
And even the ships start dancing. Like that's when it's stuff like that really stands out for me in a gun. So, but I mean, I really like that. I had forgotten about it because I didn't really treat it as like a proper gun, because it's more so of like a good fan service / like homage to video games. So like the Rhino one, the Rhino 8. So like my vote would be, at least for now, depending on what y'all say, it'd be those 2 that you're gonna put up now, and then the Rhino 8 because of what it does.
Yeah. So yeah, and like to Macho saying the Pixelizer, I also feel like I would dock points because it's a gun that we've already seen in the franchise before. Like it was in Ratchet and Clank 2016. So like I feel like even though the DualSense implementation that you described like brings it up a notch and makes it feel a little bit more fresh, at the same time, like I would say, like it's something that we've seen before. Just like the Buzz Blades, like that's one of my personal favorites, but it is something that we've seen multiple times in the franchise before. So like, yeah, the novelty is kind of like, okay, like we've seen this before. So I would cut Buzz Blades as well.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with that actually. I think the thing is like the Rhino's kind of like a staple in the Ratchet and Clank series, even if it's like a recurring thing. But you made a really great point, Soul, where it's like this one ties into the entire theme of Rift Apart, which is a whole dimension shifting thing. So the fact
Yeah.
that it brings in other franchises from PlayStation is something that it was super cool, and it definitely blew up Twitter and social media for a little bit that these characters were in the game.
Dude,
Not necessarily like, having like a, like a Into the Spider-Verse effect where they're all interacting with each other, but definitely like a really cool callback.
Do you remember the lead up to the game's launch when they were just like Sucker Punch
man.
just posted a
That's what I'm
picture
talking about.
of Sly Cooper jumping
Yeah.
through a portal, right?
That's exactly what I'm talking about, dude. That made you and me just go, "What's going on?"
Yes. Yeah, man. So yeah, I'm totally fine with cutting Topiary Sprinkler in favor of the Rhino 8. So I mean, does anyone have any objections or?
No, I'm okay with cutting those two. Yeah.
Objection! No, I'm good.
Okay. So how do you guys want to specifically rank our final three, being Mr. Fungi, the Ricochet, and Rhino 8?
Oh, man. I feel like the Ricochet has to be number one.
Over the Rhino?
Because it's just so funny bringing that thing out, man. I don't know. Oh man, it's such a hard, it's a hard one. What do you think, Walt?
I think it's a matter of what we appreciate more, the the callbacks, all these cameos, or the capability of the DualSense with the Ricochet. In my case, the Ricochet I'm able to utilize in every manner and enjoy a bit more versus the Rhino 8. Once you use it a few times, the spark doesn't fade, but it dims a little bit. Versus the Ricochet, you're able to utilize in any sort of manner, bosses, enemies, with your rockets from side to side. Like it, I feel it's a bit more flexible that way. I would go Ricochet, but it depends on what y'all appreciate more in terms of the weapon itself. Man, because I don't have as much. I never played Sly, so some of these characters, or Jax and Daxter, some of these characters, they're not in my heart like in y'all. So in my case, it would be the Ricochet.
And whenever you bring out the Ricochet too, it's just like I just love hearing the enemies just grunkle like,
Oh yeah.
it's always funny, dude.
They think you're done, but you're not.
That actually reminds me of the one of my other favorites that I didn't mention, but I'll give some love here. The lightning rod, I think it's called. Just hearing them getting like zapped with electricity, like,
and to add to that, there's certain enemies that when you do that to them, you see their inner skeleton, whatever they have, and some of them they have things that you don't expect to see them like that underneath. So it's really interesting to see that as well. Yeah, they're skelly.
All right, so Masha, how do you agree with having Ricochet number one over the Rhino?
I'm still debating because now that I'm remembering is that Mr. Fungi also has Mrs. Fungi.
Yeah,
fully upgraded.
When you upgrade, yeah. There's
And
two of
that's
them.
and I think she's the one that shoots out. I mean, they both do, but like still, it's like the double duo there. It's just like it's so overpowered, man. You can do some serious damage to bosses with Mr. and Mrs. Fungi. It's pretty dope.
I'm gonna say something controversial. I'm gonna leave the opinion of Mr. Fungi to you two. If you guys want to put that at number one, because that was one of the weapons I barely used in the game. Like I don't really care that much about Mr. Fungi.
I'm cool putting it at 3. And the fact that it made
Yeah.
top 3 for us is like,
That's
I'm cool
enough
with that.
because there's so
Yeah.
many
Okay.
guns and so many weapons. Honestly, I wouldn't mind putting that one 3 and then having Ricochet 1 and Rhino 2 or vice versa, depending on how strongly we feel about it.
Yeah, it's another like kind of my overall problem with like the Arsenal and Rift Apart, with it not being the best, because like a lot of weapons feel like just kind of like rehashes of like stuff that we've seen before. So yeah, specifically Mr. Fungi feels just like the Zircon, stuff or whatever.
That's fair.
Yeah, so do you guys like what are you guys thinking for placement for that?
Yeah, Mr. Fungi, I think is 3. Would you agree, Walt?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I like you mentioned. I'm even glad they made it to the top 3. I didn't expect them to make the top 3.
Okay. So
As far as number 2, though, the callbacks are really cool.
They are.
Yeah.
They are, and that takes some effort. I mean, to make those, make them as good as they looked and fit so well, and it goes with the themes of the video game itself.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right, man. Like the accomplishment of even doing that stuff, because we'd seen a little bit behind the curtain of like how these crossover events can be a problem, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it came to something like Smash Brothers, with like all the stuff you had to go through. Like I know it's probably a little less red tape to kind of cross over when it comes to the PlayStation Studios sisters and all that stuff, but still, it's like the fact of like Sucker Punch could have said no. Naughty Dog could have said no.
God, could you imagine that?
Yeah,
Bruh.
like that would have been such a downer, but the fact that they didn't, and they even allow like different
And Gorilla.
interpretations.
yeah.
Yeah, and Gorilla too. Yeah, can you imagine if they all just said like, no, we don't want that. Like,
Yeah,
that's
no.
gonna make our stuff too cartoony. We don't like that, or whatever. It's so like I think the accomplishment itself of the Rhino 8 is like enough to make it number 1.
Yeah, I agree. Because also I'm thinking about what it took to make it possible. So yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So, all right. So the best weapon in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart goes to the Rhino 8.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
So our list goes as follows: the Rhino 8, the Ricochet, and Mr. Fungi at number 3.
Nice.
There you go.
All right. So
Yes,
that
sir.
takes care of the best weapon in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Clap, 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 clap.
Right? I feel like oh, that was something
Golf clap.
that's something I was gonna bring up, that I was like, oh man, we should have some like theme music playing at the beginning, like to introduce our game awards. You know how they do it at game shows or whatever, like da da
Hey man, this is our test. This is our pilot for this type of episode, and this ain't the last one. So we'll improve. We'll improve
for sure.
for the next one.
Yeah, we'll get a theme song next time for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I know composer.
Hey.
Okay, so let's move on to our next category. That being, I feel like this might be a long one because I have a lot for this specific category.
Oh boy.
The dumbest thing that happened in 2021. Now this could be something that happened in a game or just in the industry at large. It's really up to us. Whatever we're feeling with this. So yeah, just go ahead and start saying some shit, and I'm gonna add it, and I'm going to add it onto the list here.
I got one. I got one for you. It's a little documentary that came out maybe a month ago on Xbox.
Oh man, that's the dumbest
And
thing.
I'm no. I'm spinning my story here. The documentary that came out, it was a good documentary. It was the ending was kind of a little markety, but in any case, scenario here, the dumbest thing to come out of that documentary were the posters that the Xbox was releasing afterwards. And they sold them for $25, and one of the posters was the Red Ring of Death poster.
Who the hell wants that hanging up on their wall, man?
There's some, come on, man, it's Twitter.
Hey, man.
There's some people that are like, I can't wait to buy this thing. Like, that was like a dark age in Xbox's past.
Exactly.
And people don't look at that likely. Sure, they make fun of it now. A lot of people make fun of it now, but still, the fact that the company itself, Microsoft themselves, Xbox themselves, are making fun of that very, very dark thing that happened in their past, where they had to spend like $1 billion supposedly just fixing the problem and paying back customers, right? Which, according to some people, didn't really pull through a lot. To me, it's just like one of those things. I was just like, really? Is that how you're gonna make that $1 billion? You're gonna sell posters of your failures? Like, that's so weird to me, man. And to me, that was just the dumbest thing ever. And to people that bought it, man, kudos to you. You know, you're a fan. but I ain't buying like I ain't buying Square Enix NFTs. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not buying something that just completely shames the company like that.
Right. Okay, so we got that on the list. Do you have anything else?
I'm sure it'll come to me once we keep talking.
Right. Okay. Walt, what about you?
Okay, so there was no concrete decision. There's some of the things that I think that were dumb that never came to fruition completely, but they were going to that place. For instance, the Stalker 2 situation, where they were going to not dip their toes, dive 100% deep into this NFT game, and it just blew in their face just awfully. And I think that the dumbest thing out of that story is the fact that they didn't go 20%, they didn't go 50%, they were going to go 100%. They were going to go fully on it. And I don't think that when something is as controversial and as recent as NFTs are, granted, with businesses, there's high risk, high reward, but in hindsight, now it just looks like a dumb move.
I'll also say another really dumb thing about that is their pseudo apology of like, oh, like, we're sorry that you're upset about this, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not about them exactly. It's about us.
Yeah,
somehow.
Almost like, we're sorry that you guys don't understand this. Yeah, it's really dumb.
Yeah. I've made a complete lapse in judgment. It gives you that vibe of a YouTube apology video. Now, in terms of something that never reached its fruition of dumb foundry, the situation with PlayStation and shutting down the Vita store,
and PS3 and PSP,
and now warning certain devs and having this miscommunication for the longest time, and them not really talking. I think the dumbest move, or one of the dumbest things the last year, another thing, is just the lack of communication from Sony and PlayStation in general. That was, and we talked about it a lot, and we can go more, but we had enough episodes where we talked about it. I think that just their lack of communication was just one of the dumbest things that could have happened. Granted, they're not failing in any sense in terms of their video games and whatnot, but I think that was still dumb because it creates a sense of mistrust with them, and we've talked about it a lot. But so far, those two specific ones are some that stand out. And as much as we keep talking about it, because let me tell you, there's a lot of dumb shit. There's a lot of dumb things that happens in a year. But those two stand out the most right now.
Okay. All right, let's see how we're gonna do this.
Crack those knuckles.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what Soul says, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I got a goddamn essay right here. Okay, so my girl Liara is taking care of this for me while I'm reading this list. Okay, so first off, Ethan's hands in Resident Evil Village.
Oh man. Oh man.
There's a story reason.
Like, that's why. Yeah, that's why we just put it on the list. But yeah, I don't think it'll actually make it because apparently he's like what, a mold man, so it makes sense.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't have to be on the list. I'm just saying it's part of the story, which makes it even funnier.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, there's Ethan's hands, obviously. Blue box abandoned situation.
Oh God, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That still went on, man. It's still going on, actually.
I know, man.
Did you see that they got a front page highlight the other day?
On PlayStation?
Yeah, in the store they got a front page highlight for some reason.
That's weird.
It's so random.
All right, so Blue Box abandoned Mario movie cast. which to be honest, the only thing I think is stupid is Chris Pratt being Mario. The other,
No, it has to be Seth Rogen being Donkey Kong.
I think that's gonna be cool. And Jack Black, I forgot what character he's playing, but like when I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, that
Isn't it
makes
Wario?
sense. Is
No,
it
Bowser.
Bowser? Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that. You know what?
Yeah,
Now that I say it, maybe I don't see it.
Oh man.
Oh, you know what? Maybe, but what's his name? Charlie Day being Luigi. I could see that.
Oh yeah, Taylor Joy with Peach. That's pretty
Oh
nice.
man, she could do anything. Sorry, I
She
don't
could
really
do
care.
it. Hey yo.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
Oh,
yo.
come on, man. You know what I
Nah,
meant.
yeah. She good. She's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that. Let's see. This was kind of recent. CD Projekt Red saying that Keanu Reeves enjoyed playing Cyberpunk 2077, only for Keanu Reeves to say that he's never played it.
Oh man, stop the cap, CD. Stop the cap.
On top of people saying that he said he was okay with people like having sex with him in the game. Yeah, that's cool. Oh man,
The Outriders bug that deleted inventory, right? Wasn't that a thing?
Yo.
yeah, Lord Cognito was highly upset about that.
Yeah.
That stopped him from playing the game.
And then of course, Rockstar fucking up the GTA remastered definitive edition thing.
Damn, that's a good one.
So yeah, that's the list that I put together. So okay, so to quickly run this through again, the Red Ring of Death poster, the Stalker 2 NFT, Sony shutting down the Vita, PSP, PS3 store, Sony's communication, Ethan's hands, Resident Evil Village, the Blue Box abandoned situation, Mario movie cast, CD Projekt Red, Keanu Reeves saying he's never played Cyberpunk, the Outriders bug, deleting inventory, and GTA Definitive Edition. Right off.
Can we also add Bethesda apologizing for their exclusivity
You think that's
for
dumb?
Starfield? I think that's so dumb, man. Why are people asking for that? Like that was like a given.
All right.
You know?
All right.
Yeah, like I don't see why they needed to apologize for it. That's like Sony apologizing for that Ratchet and Clank is exclusive.
I don't think he was Pete Hines was apologizing for like the thing being exclusive, or like for Starfield being exclusive. Like he was saying more along the lines of like what was it? Like he's sorry because he noted that it would make people upset, and he understands why people are upset, and he's like, yeah, I'm sorry that people are like upset about this. It was something along those lines. Like I don't think he was specifically apologizing for the fact that Starfield was exclusive. I might be misremembering that, but like that's what I remember from that situation. But we could still add it to the list nonetheless.
Okay.
All right, so where was I? Okay, so Sony communication, Bethesda apologizing. Okay, and then the Outriders bug deleting inventory and the GTA Definitive Edition. Right off the bat, I'm going to delete the Outriders bug deleting inventory, because yes, that is incredibly dumb, but like I feel like there's other things that are like more dumb, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And a bit more intentional.
Right. And they did eventually fix it, right? So it's like,
I don't know.
I mean,
I
Oh,
hope
okay.
so. I
the
hope
game
so.
the game is a much better state now than it was before. So.
okay. What about you guys? Do you guys have any like instant things you want to delete?
Honestly,
What are you
I
thinking
feel
about?
I feel like for the meme, I think that we should keep a couple of these because they're dumb in a good way, kind of dumb, like the Ethan's hands kind of thing.
Right.
But like to keep it a bit lighthearted, I would like delete the stalker one because that one people still get riled up about, and I want to like avoid anything like that's like too controversial on the list.
And they did course correct to
Exactly.
Be fair. Yeah.
Exactly. They mitigated real quick. Yeah, I would take that one out of the ones, but the Sony ones I'm keeping for now to see where we get.
Okay. Where is it?
And honestly, I would even take out the Sony shutting down because they didn't do it, but the communication it sucked the whole year.
Okay.
I still feel like it was a dumb thing to do, though.
They never actually
They
did it.
just
To
never
be,
did
to
it.
be fair,
you know?
right.
Which it's a dumb thing to think. They never did it. I think that a good portion of that story that made it so bad is the fact that they never talked about it, hence making the communication a worse part than them executing, which they never did. But if some of these drop, maybe we can bring it back. It depends on how we feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, well, so, because the thing is, when it comes to Sony's communication, I feel like there's more disappointment than it is dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of that, I feel like one of the things that was done from the past year was the upgrade fiasco. Which does tie into the communication, but like it was one of those things where like, will they, won't they? On top of the Horizon thing, where they said that before that people that would get the PS4 version or whatever is going to be a free upgrade, right? And then end up being like $10 for the PS5, and then they went back on that. I feel like if we're going on that, I feel like Sony flip-flopping messaging is more of a clear like dumb thing than just their communication. If that makes sense.
Honestly, I would be in favor of taking out Sony communication altogether and just putting the PS4 to PS5 upgrade path in general.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Because amidst all that path, communication was a factor amongst other things. Suggestion: just eliminate it all. Just put Sony. Just put dumbest thing, Sony.
I'm also going to delete the Mario movie cast. It is dumb, but I feel like
It's yet to be seen if it actually can pull off, kind of thing.
Yeah, I gotta wait, man. Maybe
Sure.
it'll be featured the day it comes out.
Sure.
but I also
Hey, man, you never know.
but I also feel like Chris Pratt being Garfield is more dumb.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
So yeah, we can take that off, and then I'll also take off the CD Projekt Red saying that Keanu Reeves enjoyed Cyberpunk, even though he didn't play it.
Right.
That's more of just like something that's like really really funny to me, and it's just like Cyberpunk,
Right.
like they thought they were free of the smoke last year, but nah, it kept coming it kept coming for them the following year, man.
And until that next gen upgrade comes by, they still gonna get that smoke.
If it comes by.
If it even comes on, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so right now what we have is Ethan's Hands, the Blue Box Abandoned Saga, GTA Definitive Edition, the PS4 to PS5 upgrade path, Bethesda apologizing for exclusivity, and the Red Ring of Death poster.
I'm still putting my money on the Red Ring and Death poster.
Dude,
That thing
let me
is
tell
stupid,
you,
man.
until you brought it up, and now the more I thought about it, it's it goes from dumb to stupid. That's so weird. That's such a weird just move. It's like, I mean, they're capitalizing out of out of something that just went horribly wrong. But and my thing is, what's their mentality? Like, do they expect people to see it and be like, haha, remember that time? I'm glad Xbox is much better now. Let me vote for this.
Because they became a meme in 2021. That's why.
They want a meme poster. God,
They became a Xbox essentially became, partially became like a meme in 2021 with like bringing like the whole refrigerator thing for the Xbox Series X, and then actually making a fridge out of it, which is cool, but still is like they're playing off of their own memes and their own failures and stuff like that. So
that's like good fun. That's like good dumb,
Yeah, the Red Ring of Death poster for $25 is just like, what are you doing?
So what are some ones that you guys think won't make our list?
Won't make it?
Or that you wanna cut?
Well, I know what I don't want to cut. It's obviously the poster. It's the path upgrades for PlayStation. Ethan's hands, I think we can cut because I agree with Walt. It's like dumb fun.
Really? Oh man, that
Honestly,
was like
to keep one out of like each list. At least my vote would be for Macho the red ring. For me, the Sony pad that we transform into the path from PS4 to PS5, and then from Soul, Ethan's hands, because then we have something from the video game, something from Xbox, and then something from Sony, and it just keeps it nice and mixed. I don't know. And then we can just put Nintendo in there just because Nintendo. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo did absolutely a couple of dumbass things this year. Last year, that's for sure.
The NSO price or whatever for the N64 games.
You have the Sword.
Yeah, you have the like key features being locked behind amiibos. Yeah, those are pretty dumb things.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, the fast travel. Oh god. Oh.
I feel like Blue Box Abandoned has to be on this list.
Yeah. It's too big. It's too relevant for it not to.
It has to be because, like, do you guys remember that took over, like, the entire month of, like, August, where people were just going down the rabbit hole, putting, these pieces together that didn't exist, but at the time seemed plausible, right? Like, I was totally in that rabbit hole as well. And then you have the angle of Blue Box being like, oh no guys, like please trust us, like we don't have anything to do with Hideo Kojima, this isn't a Silent Hill game. But then the next day they're like, our next game, the first letter starts with S, and it's two words, the first letter starts with S and the second letter or the second word starts with the letter H. And then they have a snake, like a eye patched character on their website. That was like hidden as well, right?
The guy going on video in his turtleneck to explain that they are a
real company, right? That is absolute. That has to be on the list, man. I've never seen that before in my life. Like no, like sounding depressed. Like no, guys, like we're real. Like I'm a real human being. Like god damn.
Lies.
That man had an expensive turtleneck on. I'll just say that. You got that from Uniqlo.
The man's come from the same planet as Zuckerberg, the lizard.
So the lizard. So we're breaking down like top 3 dumbest things, or just top 5? What are we doing then?
Top 3. Yeah, everything's top 3.
Then I would say definitely Blue Box Studios, and that has to be in there at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys not think that the GTA trilogy coming out absolutely fucking busted is dumb? And then like characters.
I'm just not surprised.
And then characters riding on their bikes, their arms looking like goddamn like pool noodles, having like no bones in their bodies. Characters talking in cutscenes and then immediately getting hit by cars. Characters looking like Sims characters, right? Characters looking worse in general than they did back in like 2004 when this game came out or whatever. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like this was like a slam dunk, like so easy. Maybe I'm obviously not a developer, so probably it's not easy. But like I don't know, it's just a slam dunk in my book. You know, these are like three of the most revered and like celebrated games of all time, and you just absolutely shit the bed with it. And like I don't know, man. Like I just feel like it's incredibly done. This should have been an easy win for them, and they just fucked it up, man.
I think this one also falls more into like, and very much so, disappointing factor because it's Rockstar,
Oh, I'm
and
not. I'm not disappointed.
no, this is disappointing in the sense that I didn't play it, I didn't buy it, I didn't feel the disappointment, but it's disappointing to see that a game was so busted when it came out, and it's from one of the most like cherished and highly regarded, like high quality, quote unquote studios out there, and for it to have come this way, it's disappointing that this is a thing that's happening. Is it surprising? I mean, depends on who you ask. Is it dumb? I don't know. I don't know if the it coming out busted is dumb. I think it's dumb that they made it take more time with it, because I'm all for delays, as I've expressed in the past. I think delays make even better games at times. I think not delaying it was dumb, but it coming out the way it came, I think it's more disappointing or just flat, just upsetting, depending on who you ask. Not for me. I'm not upset because I never played it. I never even played the
Yeah.
original, so.
For me, it's more of just like par for the course when it comes to these companies that really are just in over their head on their own success. And I'm gonna keep the same energy that I would if it was Square Enix, which happened a couple weeks, no, not even a week, couple weeks ago. It happened a couple of days ago when they announced their NFT stuff. Where I want to see them get raked through the coals, man. I want to see them get the backlash that they deserve for doing that, for doing something like that. And Rockstar absolutely got nailed for that, for releasing the definitive edition the way it was. So, for me,
Okay.
it's like I hope it's a wake up call, and if it's not, then that's too bad.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. Dumbest thing is Endwalker. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Listen, we had to gatekeep everybody now because too many people playing.
I want you guys to think about the goddamn rain in GTA San Andreas coming down,
Under the
coming
water.
down,
Rain.
coming down from the heavens like goddamn curdled milk, man. All right.
And I think it rendered under the water as well.
I want you guys to think. I want you guys to think about when you took a plane or whatever and flew to the top of the map, and you see San Andreas below you, and there's no water around the entire city. There's no land around the entire city. It just looks like a plot like on the planet, man. Like it's so dumb in the fact that this should have been a slam dunk. Can you imagine if um this Uncharted 4 remaster, for instance, if it cut right, like this is a game that was like over a 90 on Metacritic, right? And if this remaster comes out on PC and it's just like, Nathan Drake looks like he's got, I don't know, like he's got like a pepperoni face or something, or like, I don't know, he just like T-poses everywhere, right? Like a game that is just like, it just should be a slam dunk, man. And you just like, I don't know, man, like I feel like it's just so dumb that they couldn't do this. Their own game, man. They're like most important property, man, and they just didn't care enough to give it, the proper amount of time to see it through, to see that it would be a quality port, It's just like incredibly dumb to me.
No, yeah, I agree that it's dumb, but I don't think it's as dumb as like
Over the poster.
Sony.
I agree. I agree.
No,
the PS4. I agree. The
upgrade path.
PS4, PS5 upgrade path should be on the list. But like, I'm arguing over a poster, man.
No, yeah, it is. It is more dumb than a poster. Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
I'll cut off the Ethan's hands thing. That's something that.
I see what you did there.
See what you did there, buddy.
Oh yeah. That's something
Like
that.
he's proud.
Yeah, because it was unintentional. But yeah, Ethan's hands it's something that I got a kick out of. I think it's really funny. It's also incredibly dumb, but yeah, I think there's other things on this list that are like even dumber.
Right.
All right, so what we have left is PS4 to PS5 upgrade, the Blue Box Abandoned situation, and GTA Definitive Edition. How do you guys? Oh, what?
No, go for it. Go for it.
How do you guys want to rank it?
For me, I say the GTA is number 3, upgrade pads number 2, and blue box number 1.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That it's a good. It establishes the severity of each one very well, because one puts the entire image of a company, the other one is of an established one, and then the other one is just like, for some is indifferent, for some is very dumb. It very much depends. So I like the order of this.
Okay, cool. So GTA, the definitive edition, is at number 3. And then you said PS4 to PS5 upgrade is number 2. Okay, number 2, and then number 1 is the Blue Box / Abandoned saga. So congratulations to Blue Box. You guys are awarded the dumbest thing to happen in 2021.
Clap.
Yes, congratulations.
Pleasure to be here.
Our next category. Let's talk about the best moment to happen in a game in 2021, or just around the industry in 2021. So like this could be like a trailer drop, or a piece of news that came out during the year. It's whatever you guys want. For me, I only have one for this. Well, do I have one? Yeah, I have a few. Okay. So obviously this year was the first time that I played Mass Effect 3. There's multiple. I'm not gonna put these on the list. These are just more like shout outs. But there's multiple. Like Mass Effect 3 to me is a game that has like the highest highs and the lowest lows of the series. But when those highest highs absolutely hit. So for me, I think about Morden's sacrifice. That's like one of my favorite moments in the entire trilogy. Thane's death, for instance, is another one of my favorite moments in this year that I got to experience. And the whole final mission on Earth, getting to say goodbye to all of your companions, was also like really, really emotional. So those are some shout outs. Walt, Solar Ash, the ending to that game was a absolute banger.
Absolutely.
So
From the moment you're given the choice to the final fight.
Yeah.
That whole sequence, it's amazing.
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to that.
Yes,
And then was there another one? No, I think that's it. Okay, so so my main one that I want to add to the list is Returnal. The moment that you finish, we could actually have multiple Returnal moments in this, but the one that I want to put on the list is once you beat one of the best bosses in the game, in my opinion, Nemesis. Selene actually gets to escape Atropos. She returns to Earth. She lives out the rest of her life. I believe she said like 60 something years that she got to live on Earth once she returned. She lives out the rest of her life. We get to see that she has another child, I believe. She eventually dies. We get to see her being lowered into the grave. And when she dies, she returns to Atropos. So essentially, she was still stuck in this time loop, right? To such a degree that she got to escape the planet entirely and died on Earth, and still returned to Atropos, right? So she thought, escaping Atropos meant that she was free from this time loop, when in reality, no, she's not. So to me, specifically the moment of, the transition of being lowered into the grave and waking back up on Atropos is such a cool moment, because as a player, you're like, we're done. The game's done. We escaped the planet, mission accomplished. But it's like, no, you're only at the halfway point. It was just one of those moments in this year that I'll never forget, because for me, it was completely unexpected. And, later on, story-wise, you get a little bit of understanding, like, as to why specifically she's returning again and again and again and again. And yeah, it's one of the standout moments for me personally. It was such a cool moment. And why Returnal specifically, and how it handled its time loop, differs from, like, 2021 was like the year of time loops. Like, there's so many games that has a time loop in 2021, but Returnal stands out to me specifically because we get to see sort of Celine grasp with the time loop and multiple versions of herself that went through it, and what it did to her mentally and how she had to handle it. And yeah, this was one of the most powerful moments to me of the year.
Yeah, it's a good pick. It's a fantastic pick.
Cool.
How about you, Macho?
Well, as far as like one of the moments, it's a pretty wide spectrum of really cool things, man. Like Resident Evil Village's House Beneviento was like one of the most surreal video game experience I've ever had in my life. Like on the cusp of BioShock's twist in the story, exploring Rapture and all that stuff. House Beneviento just stands out so much to me as an experience. I not only wish that it was in VR and I had a VR device so that I could get into that part more.
I get a heart attack?
Yeah, I know. Because the thing is, when Capcom was saying that Resident Evil 7 was too scary, and so they toned down the scariness. But House of Beneviento was just like one of the scariest things I ever experienced in any video game. But again, it's one of my favorite things because of just the breadcrumbs that it gives you in that slow and antagonizing puzzle. It's just masterful. Like it's absolutely, that whole part is just like a masterpiece, like on PT level stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm not having a baby because of that.
The other thing I just have to say that, at least for me, is one of my favorite things about 2021 was putting some knuckles on some high schoolers in Lost Judgment, man. That was no, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think one of the best things to come out of 2021, though, for sure, was just the implementation of the DualSense. For me, like that absolutely just enhanced gaming for me. And we talked about it before. Like we got bits and pieces of it in 2020 with Astrobot, right, being the big highlight. Miles Morales is very subtle. And then you had some stuff in Demon's Souls, stuff like that. But like when 2021, we had Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, we had Returnal, even Destruction All-Stars had like some really great implementation with the DualSense. Control, right? I never even got like halfway through that game on PS4, but because of the DualSense, I got through it entirely on PS5. Because it just felt so good to play with that thing and with control and stuff like that. So I would say just the DualSense, like giving those unique experience I was looking for in a next-gen console, that for me is like a huge highlight. Because before, when they announced PS5, that's going to make me super excited about video games. That's going to make my experience even better. And ended up being one thing I was not really expecting is the sense of touch. And that goes with the DualSense. So I think, yeah, just overall, the biggest thing for me was like the DualSense in 2021.
Nice. Yeah. So is that it for you?
I mean, there's a couple things, but like I think they're very specific, right? Like Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker, I don't really want to like go into that territory, like the twists and turns of that, because one, Walt hasn't finished it and it's still pretty fresh. It's only been a month. I know there's like an invisible spoiler ban now on Twitter for people.
What about
like after a month they could say everything, but still.
What about just Endwalker's success in general?
Yeah, more or less. The things I don't know if that's like one of the obviously it's one of the best things, but like it's kind of it kind of sucks that they took away the sales of the game because people can't that really want to play it can't play it now.
Right.
But I think it is a big thing. Yeah, like the fact that an MMORPG, right, an MMORPG that's not World of Warcraft, has reached success and heights that it has reached, and that is Endwalker. And I think it's an incredible accomplishment, especially in the COVID pandemic, man. Jesus.
In a panty, yeah.
What?
Yeah, in a panty, he said.
In a panorama.
Panorama.
So yeah, okay. Then with you when you said that, then I'll put Endwalker success, and then the DualSense for me, biggest things.
Okay. What about you, Walt?
So a few things, because I want to make them as not specific, but a few to make them a bit more quote unquote special. One of them includes two games, and it's Tales of Arise and Ys Monstrum Nox, and how both of those games gave those two franchises a wider audience, and it provided them a bigger, like another chance at proving themselves as like honorable, action RPGs / JRPGs, and how they essentially, those two titles put those two franchises on the radar, similar to how Yakuza 0 had put the Yakuza franchise on the radar, on a much bigger radar here on the West. So I think that's specifically those two fall into that one category as one pick. The other one is a video game moment, and is the Ascendance to Hyperion and the fight itself. And it's the entire, and I mean the entire sequence, from the moment you're at the base and you hear figments of that music and you start ascending, it gets louder and louder and louder, and when you get there, he flexes on you and he puts some notes in there, and then he starts attacking, and it is just fantastic. I love that fight. I love the music. The music is what makes it all the more special. The purpose, the meaning, the just the symbolism and all of it. It's a beautiful fight. Granted, Returnal has a lot of moments that could very much fall in this, like you mentioned in the beginning. I was choosing between Hyperion and the boss previous to that one. Forgot the name.
Nemesis.
Is it Nemesis? The big epic one where, that fight is insane, and insane to the point where I won that fight, but it was a clutch. That was a clutch. I was one hit away from having to repeat it, and the boss was one hit away from me defeating it. So it just made it all that more exciting, adrenaline filled. But my pick is the Hyperion one because it's so subtle, but it's so amazing, so beautiful. And then another amazing thing that happened, just in general, I think Game Pass. And Game Pass for 2021 just proved that service goes far and beyond on introducing more titles, on being that bang for your buck, providing
it's the best deal in gaming.
As many would say, best deal in gaming. So much so that PlayStation's trying their own version of it, and you have many people talking about how just service platforms like that seems to be the future or whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think the Game Pass in general is just a great offer, a great value this year. And, having titles like the entire Yakuza franchise, you have Scarlet Nexus in there, you have Hades in there, you have so many good titles in there people can really, truly enjoy. So I think just Game Pass in general this year really kicked butt.
Yeah. It felt like this was the year that Game Pass really hit its stride, right? Like the promise of Game Pass was it was all leading up to this year specifically.
Absolutely.
Like even though games like Back 4 Blood or Outriders didn't they had their moment, but they didn't necessarily have lasting effect. It was still a big deal that they were there, right? From the jump or whatever. And then obviously MLB as well, right? So yeah, they definitely had a pretty damn good year.
I'll piggyback off of that real quick, just because you mentioned Back 4 Blood, and the thing is I wouldn't have touched that game with a 10-foot pole, but But the fact that, you know, my coworkers who are gamers too were like, yeah, we want to check out Back 4 Blood. I've been playing it. And in my head, I'm like, man, I'm never going to play that game. I don't want to pay for it. But I saw it in Game Pass, like, oh, wait, I can't play with you guys. If you want to link up, we can definitely play a couple games on PC and cross over with Xbox, stuff like that. So, like, yeah, so like you said, that promise was for Game Pass, and like, and just that availability, I think it's huge.
Yeah.
It was huge in 2021 for sure.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
It's funny because I was watching another podcast, like their Game Awards, and they had, you know, they said a similar thing. They brought up Game Pass as a nominee. But their argument was that like Game Pass has been awesome since you know its inception. So like that's why they didn't necessarily have it as like the winner, you know, for this year, because it's like, you know, it's always been great, right? But to that, I would rebuttal that like what we just said, like this felt like the year for Game Pass, as opposed to like, you know, years past specifically, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think I'll add just to jump topics. I think I'll add to something that I just thought of right now, and that's It Takes Two winning Game of the Year in the Game Awards.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge moment. And for not for me specifically because it's one of my favorite games of 2021, but more or less because of like what the kind of game it is. We always have the conversation of, you know, big budget AAA action games or AAA games can only make it into the Game Awards because of the reach and marketing and all that stuff. But then we have anomalies, right? Like a Walking Dead, Telltale winning Game of the Year, Hades just sweeping Game Awards, not specifically Keighley Awards because Last of Us 2 and stuff like that, but just in general, kind of like the vibe of like the industry. And then It Takes Two winning Game of the Year for 2021 among the Titans like Metroid Dread and Deathloop.
No, we're not calling Deathloop a Titan, man. Let's not do that.
In any case, It Takes Two, a co-op game, winning Game of the Year, is just like, for me, it's like one of the best moments last year.
Yeah, and Takes Two in general just is one of the greatest achievements just in video games, I think, and how well it all synergizes and the reception and people understanding that this is actually a fantastic game. You don't have to be a AAA, just mammoth to produce something great. I mean, we've seen this before, you know, in games like Hollow Knight and Ritual. What do you call? Oh my goodness, the Symphony of the Night created the platformer.
Oh yeah, Bloodstained, right?
Yeah. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. You know, you have these small games that they're fantastic, phenomenal video games. So I'm glad that It Takes Two existing itself. It's a lot of faith. Puts a lot of faith in me in video games and industry. And Joseph Fares, he's a hell of a guy. Let me tell you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, when I went for the platinum and It Takes Two last night, there's a couple of things I definitely missed my first playthrough. Well, we explored more in the playthrough most recent, and there are just some awesome Easter eggs, man. They're just so good. Yeah, like I said, that game is a crazy good achievement.
Yeah, man. But Game Pass and Joe, man, and It Takes Two, and those will be my picks. Some I feel more strongly than others just because of the impact, but yeah, that would be it.
I'm going to also add the reveal of Idris Elba as Knuckles.
I don't need your power.
And him saying that, you know, his Knuckles wouldn't be sexy, and then you know, and then that ended up being a lie.
Well, I think that Knuckles could be for another category, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh man,
you can apply some other rules to that, you know. Maybe not 33 of them, but one more.
When he delivered that line though, that was pretty epic. That was the more I was like, damn, I might actually watch this movie.
Yo.
No, I'm not watching it. But okay, so it seems like our list right there. So okay, so we have the Returnal transition from Biome 3 to Biome 4, House Beneviento, beating up kids and Lost Uh,
Jesus Christ.
DualSense in 2021. Endwalker's success. The Ascent to Hyperion and Returnal. Game Pass in 2021, and It Takes Two's winning Game of the Year.
I think we should have two, like this category should have two subcategories, one for video game moment and one for an industry moment.
Nah, I feel like it all just kind of like lumps together. Just like like the category is
Do
just
you
like
think
best moment in 2021. So
best
yeah,
moment? Okay,
yeah,
gotcha,
that kind of
gotcha,
like
gotcha.
encapsulates whether it's a game or just like industry.
Okay,
Oh,
makes sense.
so my top three would be It Takes Two winning Game of the Year. Had the lead up to Hyperion and Walker Success. That'd be my top three. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I think I would also have the Hyperion Ascent. I really like the Returnal transition from Biome 3 to 4. That would personally be on mine, but I don't think that's gonna make it on our list. So yeah, the Ascent to Hyperion. Um, I I honestly would put the House Beneviento, because even though that's probably what's keeping me from playing Village, I will totally concede that that is a really like insane moment. Um, so yeah, I would have that as well, and um, I feel like I'm stuck between It Takes Two and just Game Pass in 2021. I feel like that would be like my four. What about you, Walt?
I mean, of course, the Ascendance to Hyperion.
So
That was
that's
on the
on our
book.
list no matter what, because
Yeah, yeah,
all three of us said that.
so we agree on that one. I would say the DualSense it really DualSense have been a make or break for me with a lot of video games and how I mean look at with the Ricochet gun. It made a gun in a video game feel all the more worthwhile, and same with other video games. It's made it that much more enjoyable. So I think the Hyperion, the DualSense, and then Macho swayed me on this, and I think that It Takes Two winning Game of the Year because I started thinking about what has won Game of the Year all those years back, and they've all been AAA, highly regarded, sweethearts, and except for that one time that Sekiro won, I was blown away. I did not expect Sekiro to win, which I'm glad it did.
It felt like a default game of the year, to be honest.
I was like, wait, like, because I always see like more accessible, like things that games that generally are like that's a safe pick, but I didn't expect Sekiro to be there. But yeah, I think that It Takes Two winning, that's pretty big because I mean, honestly, people that was one of the most positive receptions of the community in general when it won Game of the Year. People were so happy, and like you barely heard anyone complaining, and if you did, it was probably someone with an anime PFP, like it wasn't much there. Yeah, those would be my three picks.
I
So it looks like It Takes Two Game of the Year
Oh yeah.
might be on there, right?
Yeah, so that'll be on there.
So we have
Um,
Hyperion, It Takes Two, and then one more.
I feel like for me, yeah, like It Takes Two. For like, obviously I haven't played the game, so like I don't really like. I don't really like it. Winning Game of the Year was cool, but like it wasn't like the biggest thing to me. But specifically, why I like it winning Game of the Year was like seeing Josef Fares up on stage and seeing how excited he was. Like that to me, it wraps up in sort of It Takes Two winning in general. But yeah, to me specifically, like, that was my favorite moment of that whole thing. Okay,
Nice.
so. All right, so what did everyone? Okay, so Macho said Endwalker success. Walt said DualSense, and
Yeah.
I said Game Pass. So we,
Honestly, if you say Game Pass, and let me tell you, as much as the DualSense is only for PlayStation, Game Pass at the very least gives you more flexibility, whether you have an Xbox or a PC. So I think that, giving it more thought, I would put Game Pass over the DualSense because the DualSense is very much I've been able to experience, but I know how hard it's been for some people for PlayStation. I'd say Game Pass over the DualSense in this regard.
I also really like Endwalker's success though. Like it's just like a feel good story, you know. Like
Yeah,
in a time where like it's just so like everything is so cynical, and social media and specifically Twitter is just so like filled with
toxic.
negativity. It just feels good to have, you know, like just something that everyone like universally like loves and adores. You know what I mean?
hmm Dude, put it one step forward. Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. The the
That's not the
homage
best
and
moment.
the no, man, listen. The way that the Final Fantasy 14 honored his memory in the game, like with like I just say, like not even Endwalker's success, just Final Fantasy 14 in general. Like that's such a success. 2021 really proved that that video game is just. And we have our marketing leader over here that keeps talking the praises of this. Uh,
That's why I haven't said
honestly,
anything really.
yeah, the success. Let me tell you, man. I'm playing it right now as we speak. As we were doing this, I'm doing some grinding and whatnot. So like, this game, dude, yeah, put that success up there. Put it, put it up there.
We're,
Yeah, man. I guess I don't really need to kind of like sell the idea of this, but yeah, I think like amid to Walton Soul's point, yeah, it's just where it started, 10, 12 years ago, and where it is now is like night and day difference. And the fact they're able to steer the ship in this way, and to not only just have like a successful, franchise in Final Fantasy, but the most successful game in the entire franchise. And just again, the way I can't wait for you all to get to Endwalker and see how it all wraps up, man. Because like it's super special the way they did it, and yeah, I think it's like the whole community aspect as well. Like everyone's like rooting, even with something like it's like so bad, right? Like people can't get into the game; they're waiting for hours just to get into the game, and people are still like, "We're with you,
yeah,
don't worry, like we understand."
yeah.
Let's just go by it day by day. Even then, they don't have to be this forward, to be this communicative, and even when they're super sincere. Like the guy Naoki Yoshi P, he cried when they had to delay the game just 2 to 3 weeks because he was so excited for everybody to play it, and he felt like it would disappoint everybody if he would just delay it just by even by 2 to 3 weeks. So that kind of stuff you don't see in the video game industry at all.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so that sounds like a good number three. How do we rank this?
Mm, I would say, me personally, I would put Hyperion number one because I know how much we've sung the praise and how much that moment has been so special in that video game, and mainly because as much as I love It Takes Two winning Game of the Year, it's a great feat. I haven't finished the game, so I'm not as invested in that situation as I am with the moment that Hyperion, how personal that was. So I would put that one number one, number two, It Takes Two, and then number three, Endwalker. Or I could switch Endwalker and It Takes Two. Those two are switchable.
That's what I was gonna say. I would switch Walker for number two, and then
Yeah,
put It Takes Two number three.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with
Perfect.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that ranking because yeah, that moment hype that like because I love the transition you're talking about Soul 2 in Returnal where
Yeah.
you go from biome 3 to 4,
Yeah.
but that moment was really lost on me because I knew that there's more beyond the game.
Oh man, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that
You know,
sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
so like knowing that like completely ruined. Like no, I know there's more, and this is not a spoiler
This
for
ain't
me.
the end. This ain't the end.
Yeah,
it's
Don't
also
lie to me.
it's also made like even cooler. During the, I don't know if it actually plays even sooner in the game, but it actually might now that I think about it. But specifically during the transition from Biome 3 to 4, the song that Celine is playing on her piano is the same song that Hyperion plays later on his organ, right? So yeah, it's almost like a little tease of like what is to come. And just the song in general is something that it has a specific meaning to to Celine, and I think it was a song that like her father played or something like that. And so like when she's making the ascent, that's why she's so insistent on silencing the music, and why it's like actually like driving her insane. you know, like I'll never forget like once you actually defeat Hyperion, and what she says afterwards, she's like finally, you know, like silence, like it was too much, and the way that she says it, right? Like she, like almost like exacerbated, like she has like this huge relief that like finally she's no longer hearing this music. Like yeah, that entire moment just hits so hard. It's so cool. But I am totally down for keeping that as number one. But yeah, man. So for this specific category, we have The Ascent to Hyperion and Returnal, Endwalker's Success at number 2, and It Takes Two winning Game of the Year at number 3. So congratulations, Returnal, for taking the best moment of 2021.
Hell yeah.
Again, I feel like we should have that music from The Price is Right playing. The da 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 that shit. All right. So next category. Biggest disappointment of 2021. I only have one, and you guys know what it is. It's Deathloop.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I saw that from a mile away.
Yeah, my biggest disappointment in 2021. As an Arcane fan, I was really let down by that game that I didn't even finish it.
Damn.
I think the biggest, like I've made my issues with that game well known, but I think the biggest thing for me is the promise of, like, first of all, it's like one of the least interesting, you know, sort of like utilizations of the time loop mechanic in general, right? In a year where Loop Hero came out, where you know, the Forgotten City came out, where Returnal came out, Deathloop just like doesn't really use its specific time loop in a really interesting way. The Outer Wilds DLC came out as well, right? Like these are all using a time loop in varied and more interesting ways mechanically, and Deathloop just like once you die and you return to the beach, it's like, oh, crap, all right, let's do this all over again, right? Like it just never feels exciting. It never feels like you're really like learning or taking the knowledge that you've gained from previous runs into, you know, the next loop. So there's that, but more specifically, like the premise of like it felt like they were really building up this in the marketing and even in the game a little bit once you start playing, of this idea of like it being a puzzle. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to get like a notebook out and write like, okay, this specific visionary is only comes out during the morning. The second visionary is only available during the night. You know, I can only open this door specifically if I go through this building during the afternoon, right? Like they set up all these things during specific times throughout the day, and you can only access certain levels throughout specific, or you know, throughout the day, and things like that. So it really felt like you needed to keep track of all these little bits of information. Only for the and it made it seem, with, you know, the fact that certain people were only available throughout certain periods of the day, that you could tackle this a number of ways, when in reality it was literally there's only one solution to this giant puzzle. And it really, like, it was really hand-holdy, in which like it basically told you like, okay, now do this, okay, now once you've done that, now you go ahead to this area and do this, right? Like it felt really hand-holdy, and it never really allowed for much experimentation, as opposed to like a Prey or Dishonored. So that was one of the biggest disappointing things, of like, oh man, so there was only really one solution to this entire thing. All right, well, that sucks. So yeah, Deathloop in general, I have way more issues, but I've already talked about them at length before, so I'll leave it at that. But yeah, what about you guys? What are some things that disappointed you this year?
And I'm looking hard because like I try to stay away from expectations and just general.
The man was still scarred by Cyberpunk.
Okay, yeah. One of the biggest disappointments: not getting that next gen upgrade, not getting these big, juicy patches that were mentioned. You know, not having the. I get it. I'm not. You know, the disappointment doesn't mean that I'm angry or I resent CD in any way, shape, or form. But it's disappointing to know that even after a whole year, the video game is not running in optimal conditions, and there's still bugs on it. There's still problems with performance issues. There's the next gen upgrade is not here. So in general, I think that one of the biggest disappointments is Cyberpunk 2077 still remaining in the state that it is. I'm not saying it's a bad state, but it's not the state that was mentioned that would be during 2021. And the big 2 patches that they mentioned that we're gonna do, they didn't really go far beyond from what usually these next gens or big patches do to a bit more broken down video games. So I'd say that one is one of the more big disappointments in 2021. Regarding the actual game, I try to stay away from games that might disappoint me because there's so many. Not really a specific. I'd say that a disappointment with video games, this is just more personal, not getting through it more. There's a lot of video games that I wish I had played, but I didn't schedule well enough to play certain video games, and I'm disappointed that I didn't get around to play them through. But they're in my backlog. I'm going to take care of them this year. But that's more of a personal disappointment on that front. But yeah, I'd say Cyberpunk 2077 remaining the way it is still into 2022.
I feel like I also, and Walt, maybe you can kind of help me out with this one. Atlas, didn't they like specifically with like the Persona 25th anniversary thing? Like, I feel like we were really like kind of like anticipating like a Persona 6 announcement, and it just ended up being like I know they said that this is gonna be stretched out over like 7 months or whatever, but
like 6 announcements and something like that.
Right, but then like the first few announcements was like,
Merch.
yeah, it was merch, right? So
biggest disappointment, Atlas merch.
yeah. So I want to add that.
Yeah, I would agree. And honestly, I love. Here's the thing, I didn't expect anything, but I can see how many people would see the Persona 4 Ultimate, the arena game, being a disappointment because they probably expected something Persona 6 related or Project Refantasy, which they're working on, or possible.
Are they?
I mean, it's still there's still some believers out there. I know that Alice mentioned that they're going to talk about it more this year, but I know that there's still people that would like to see Persona 5 on PC, and they expected that. So like, I know that specific announcement would have been disappointing for a lot of people. Not for me. I can't wait to get my hands on Arena. But yeah, I'd say Atlas merch instead of an actual announcement. I get it. They had to leave the best for last, and I'm almost certain that at the end of these announcements we're going to see a P6 or a teaser or something. But yeah, I agree with Essel. Yeah. What about you, Macho? What do you put in the fray?
There's a couple of things that come to mind, and one of them is no Last of Us factions announcement.
Damn.
Another Outbreak Day, another disappointment.
Merch, more merch.
Merch, stickers, toys, what have you, man.
Watches, a watch. I think there was a watch or something.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it kind of falls in line with some Square Enix merchandise that's just so weird and outlandish and stuff you wouldn't really expect. They sell clocks, by the way, just to let you guys know. So like it's like if it falls into that realm where it's just like you're expecting something so great for Outbreak Day because they make it such a big deal, and ends up being just more kind of just like cool stuff, like highlighting fan art and stuff like that, and some merch stuff and vinyls and all that stuff. But still, it's like, where is Factions 2? Where are you going to show us like what's going to happen with Factions 2 and anything that's going to happen? And on top of that, having like the Last of Us like 60 FPS patch come out so late in 2021 too, like that felt like it should have been like a day one PS5 thing when it ended up not being that. I think the other thing that was kind of a disappointment as well, I'm kind of looking at my shelf here, because I'm trying to think.
What was I disappointed to buy?
Yeah, I know, right? What's the buyer's remorse? I think one of the disappointments is also one of the one games that fits in another one of our categories is Zelda Skyward Sword's release. That was really disappointing. I was looking forward to actually replaying that game. And then I learned that like all the hubbub around it and the whole amiibo situation, like it just, I don't get it, man. I really don't get where Nintendo's head's at. Where some of the re-releases, like they're really just trying to capitalize on their fans now.
Yo, Walt, were you kissing your microphone or something? What's going on there?
What?
Macho's talking.
Did it sound closed? Well, I was adjusting my headphones. Did it sound like I was kissing someone?
Yeah, I was trying to listen, and you're over there having a field day with it. Like, goddamn.
I was wondering. I was like, "What's going on over there?" I feel like
my bad. I was adjusting it. It was falling off. Yeah.
Yeah, you were dusting it. Okay.
All right. Macho, you have any more? Right, like I'm trying to think as. Oh wait, was it this year that we got confirmation that Sony's doing a Twisted Metal series?
Yeah, that was at CES. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if this is like a disappointment. Maybe it is, but I'm just like, who wants a Twisted Metal series, man? Like. Can we be honest, man? Like, who wants that, man? Like, do a goddamn Bloodborne animated series instead. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Feel like,
yeah, it feels like a given too.
Like, and I know like they're doing a game as well to kind of capitalize on that. So that makes sense. But like, I don't know. Like Ghost of Tsushima's movie, The Last of Us HBO series, the Uncharted movie, like. Those all make sense because those are like PlayStation's some of their biggest IPs. But like a Twisted Metal series, man, like that just felt like a weird choice when every other decision that they've made, specifically with PlayStation Productions, has been like, yep, like those all make sense, right? Twisted Metal is just like the one that like sticks out like a sore thumb in my opinion.
Have you seen the movie Redline?
No,
dude, it's a racing anime movie. And it has one of the most incredible animation, stylistic choices in a movie. And if this would make sense, the Twisted Metal series, movie, whatever they do, would make sense if they're going for something that is going to blow us away in some capacity. Because the thing with shows, it's like, it's similar. I always compare it back to Guardians of the Galaxy to like, you get pitched this idea of a movie and like, it's going to come out, it's a Marvel, and you hear, what? It's a raccoon in a tree? Like, what's this movie? Then you watch it and it's like, oh wow, that's pretty good. So like I feel like until I see, it's like the Mario movie, the cast. Let's see how it turns out. I know we're iffy on it, but let's see how it turns out. But like with this animated, whatever the case may be, they're doing, with Castlevania, if they do that stylistic choice, it's gonna look banger because Twisted Metal is insane. The lore in that game and the design of characters, Sweet Tooth, and like everything is insane. It's insane.
All right. Well, we'll see,
I'd be down for it, but I don't know if people are asking for it. That's the big question. I don't know if people are like crazy over Twisted Metal show right now, but maybe this is their way of resurging the series, just like Castlevania. When the show came out, now everyone's buying the collection. Everyone's buying these anniversary collections,
Yep, that was me.
Yeah, it works.
We can also say Japan Studio being shuttered.
RIP.
As a disappointment, even though like personally I'm glad that like all the resources and focus has been put into Team Asobi now instead of making them a full-fledged first-party studio. But yeah, definitely seeing Japan Studio, that little bit of history kind of go away is definitely kind of sad and disappointing.
100%, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for me. I don't know about you guys. What do you guys have any others?
I don't know. Walt mentioned Castlevania, and I thought, I was like, damn, I should have mentioned Castlevania. It's like one of my favorite things about 2021.
Hey man, you can put it in because Castlevania is kind of, it's amazing.
It's lit, man. Yeah.
Hey, we're talking shows. Arcane, man. That's like one of the best things that happened in 2021.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Hey,
absolutely.
Yo, man.
God damn it! Wait, did I lose it? Wait. Oh, okay. I got it. Okay. Konami picking or teaming up with what's their name, Bloober Team, to make what we think might be a Silent Hill game. Do you guys
Maybe.
remember this?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm like, Bloober team. Like, you know,
Yeah, the ones I made the medium earlier in the
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
That I forgot about. Yeah.
You know that meme of Soldier Boy at the Breakfast Club when he's like, Drake? Like that's me. That's me with Bloober team right now. Like Konami really, y'all really picked them? Okay. All right, man.
I mean, to be fair, in some capacity, I guess that I didn't hate it. I know some people had problems with it. The medium, I enjoyed the medium for what it was.
Don't cap.
No, let me tell you, I'm a cap. Because the thing with that game,
Whenever you say I enjoy something for what it was, I mean it's like you know it's bad.
no,
Whether you like it
because
anyway.
I know how public opinion works, and like,
I'm just fucking with you, man.
shut the hell up, you Endwalker ass. The thing with that game is, I played it on Game Pass, and this is my disclosure. I played it on Game Pass. I didn't buy the game. I gave it a try. I know what people mean. I enjoyed it, and knowing Bluebird Team, working on Silent Hill, am I worried? No, I'm not too attached to this franchise, but it's not like they haven't worked on horror. They've done Layers of Fear as well. Observer, not horror, but there's a vibe in there. There's a vibe, but like with the medium, it didn't hit the marks that people were expecting, but it wasn't a full miss. I don't think, at least. And I'm not capping. I'm just like, I don't expect things to be pristine.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair. It's
And then I think the last thing that I will add, and then we can start whittling down this list, is Battlefield 2042. I was so excited for this game. I kept telling you guys that this was basically my most anticipated game, like around, I don't know, once we got to like the fall. And the fact that I haven't bought it, I haven't played it, tells you everything you need to know. So yeah, that's definitely a big disappointment for me. Okay, so our list goes as follows: Deathloop, the Cyberpunk Next Gen version being delayed, Atlas merch instead of Persona 6, Last of Us factions, Skyward Sword, Twisted Metal series, Japan Studio, Bloober Team making Silent Hill, and Battlefield 2042 as the biggest disappointments of 2021. I'm okay with taking off Twisted Metal series and Bloober Team making Silent Hill. Those are just like things I just thought of like on the spot right now. I'm personally disappointed by it, but I don't think they'll make our list.
Yeah, I was thinking NFTs too for Castlevania and Square Enix, but they're kind of falling to 2022 stuff now.
Right.
yeah, that would have been my number one.
So yeah, seriously.
Sheesh.
I definitely think that I can't say the same for Deathloop, but man, like the way it just sweeped critic reviews was just odd.
Tens of nines.
Yeah.
And then like and right now it feels like a fart in the wind, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it very much missed. To play a little bit of devil's advocate. I think that for our taste and what we expect in a video game, us three, Deathloop, and considering our history with the company and Soul, you're talking about Arcane and whatnot, and me being a fan of that, and as well as games like Prey and whatnot, I think that it missed the mark on our end, but on so many people, it very much was a completely fine experience, which I see how, but doesn't justify it and doesn't make it, a entry that I'm interested in. But I can see why it swept completely, when it came out, because then now it's like, who talks about it, It's like, oh yeah, it's great when it came out, but now it's like, who talks about it? And I think games succeed the most when it's still, like Final Fantasy, like people, this year, 2022, people are not going to stop talking about Endwalker. They're not.
Mm-hmm. IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. GameSpot awarded it its Game of the Year. I can't understand why. I just can't. My brain cells are working really hard to try to figure it out, and they're just coming up with nothing.
Just like in that SpongeBob episode.
They're burning.
Yeah, man. They're coming up with no results. Yeah, they got nothing, man.
Red alert!
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I think the one to definitely make the list. You said what was it? It was Deathloop.
Atlas
Cyberpunk next
merch.
gen version, Atlas merch instead of Persona 6, Last of Us Factions, Skyward Sword, Japan Studio getting shuttered, Battlefield 2042.
I so for me personally, like my ranking for these three would be um, Battlefield 2042 is number 3 because that game had potential. Even I was interested. I
Man,
don't even like
that
military
trailer,
shooters.
that trailer at E3, you remember that?
That trailer was so epic, man. That
Right?
trailer was something else.
Yeah.
Like that made me. I was like, oh, I want to play that. But then I played the beta and I was like, ugh, I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
Number 2 would be Japan Studio for sure. And number 1 personally because this is the year that 2021 was also the year that I got into Last of Us Part 2 was not getting any sort of factions snippet tease whatever. It's always referred to as that game, that project when they're not saying anything about it. And that, to me that's like cuz I love Factions 1, man. Like I absolutely love Factions 1. I put so many
good.
hours into it.
I feel like my biggest rebuttal to the whole factions thing is that like they never really like every Outbreak Day is just it's always been merch. It's always been like here's this new Last of Us hoodie, here's this new poster, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Like I remember 2020 was when they revealed the Kojima Productions Naughty Dog collaboration and Yoji Shinkawa drew like you
No,
know
that was cool as hell, man. That
yeah,
was
so
cool.
it's always been things sort of like in that nature. Like in terms of like big announcements, there's never really been anything like that for Outbreak Day.
No, you're right. Yeah, no, you're right. It's I think it's more just like in 2021 in general, just like of how quiet they were with that. It's because we only heard about it once, and that was when it was a news that it was going to be a separate thing, or something that was not going to be part of the Last of Us Part 2 package. So at least, and that's in my ranking too, like my own like
Yeah.
personal disappointment, especially with the Last of Us Part 2, where like that game just really didn't click for me, and I'm still reeling about it. Like I want to go back to it, but there's parts where I'm just like I can't. I'm just so disappointed like what was presented there
Yeah.
with the story and the characters. But and that kind of ties into my disappointment with Factions as well, not being really shown up, despite still being really excited for what they have in mind. So, but that's just me. So Battlefield 2042 is one of my picks. Studio Japan, and then Last of Us Factions 2. Not one.
What about you, Walt?
I think, man, it sucks that there's an episode that we can all go to and we will be so happy, and we were so happy about 2042 and all these expectations, and we're like, oh, we're gonna get together, we're gonna play the Battlefield. Nah, never happened. Look how it turned out. That definitely has to be in there. I'll think about where the position as I muddle through these. Second pick, although the Japan studio situation happened, it's not like it stopped there. And there has been some progress and there has been some retaliation from that, and they've moved on to better endeavors in some capacity. Um, I don't think if at the moment it was definitely like a big disappointment, but now I think they've worked with what they have right now.
And like yeah, it was disappointing to see because yeah, like you're you know that's a big part of PlayStation history. You know, like they're so synonymous with the brand, but at the same time, like I think about what that studio has done over the course of like the last few years, and it is really really slim. You know, aside from helping being essentially a support studio and helping, you know, essentially, you know, like Blue Point, for, you know, Bloodborne or like Demon Souls, you know, things like that, or helping on Hot Shots Golf, or you know, they've been really more in a support studio capacity. I would be way more disappointed if they were like, you know, if like Gravity Rush 2 came out in like 2019, you know, if they were really sort of like popping off games recently in recent years. then I think I would be feeling this a little bit more. If The Last Guardian came out in like 2018 or like 2020, then I would be like, man, like these guys were just, releasing games. That's crazy. But no, we really haven't seen anything major from them since Gravity Rush 2. So that's why I feel like, yeah, it is disappointing, but it's not like the most like this on this list. It's not the most disappointing thing to me too. And the fact that like Team Asobi is like they're doing their thing now. They're going to be bigger. They're going to be, we hope, is going to be making bigger, full-fledged games now. Whereas maybe if they were still stuck under the Japan Studios umbrella, they would have just been regulated to VR. That's still yet to be seen, but the consensus or what we believe right now is that they are going to be bigger, in the future. So, yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about that situation.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally see how it's not over. With 2042, not saying that the game is done improving, but even to this day, it's hard to imagine it go beyond from where it's at, and it still doesn't. At best, from what I've seen, I don't know if I'll give it a try at some point if it's on sale or not, but it's maybe above average. It's good. It's not, it was promised to be, a lot of people expecting it be the best, some of the best since like Battlefield 3 or 4, even Bad Company. But it just stayed flat. This one, at least, with Japan Studio and Team Asobi and their future endeavors, there's still hope. I wouldn't put Cyberpunk remaining the way it is on this list, because I know that this is very much a more personal gripe that I have with that, because I don't hate the game. I just hate how it's been treated. And
I think we can cut that out.
Yeah, we'll cut that one out. And honestly, I agree with Battlefield being on this list. I hope it sticks there, because we all were.
We got it on there.
Yeah, we all, cherished that at the beginning, and then went to the ground.
Macho, how do you feel about Skyward Sword?
I mean, it's disappointing for sure, but I don't think it can make the list.
If anything, the Amiibo thing falls more into dumbest thing than it does into disappointing. But I think that the release of Skyward Sword, Macho, it's hard to like put Nintendo things up here, because as much as we talk, about it, that the general reception is just.
Yeah, it wasn't a broken game.
Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't disappointing because it's a broken game. It's because it's Skyward Sword.
Honestly, I would be, and stick with me on this, or tell me what you guys think. I would switch out Skyward Sword and just put Zelda's 35th anniversary all together, right? Like this was an anniversary year for Zelda, and all they really did was release Skyward Sword, right?
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
They did the little game that had like Link's Awakening. It had the first Zelda. It had like the little Game Boy-esque device.
So re-releases.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo. And
nostalgia
and
re-releases.
Thing,
yeah,
I see a trend here. Atlas Anniversary, Outbreak Day, 35th anniversary. Can we just put like anniversaries as like a category? Because I see that just the anniversaries have not been it. They haven't been it. They were not it.
Man, here's hoping the Kingdom Hearts anniversary this year and Castlevania do something better. Castlevania's off to not a good start.
So like, I'd be down to put like just video game anniversaries, not treated like properly, or like not given its fair share of like announcements or
being disappointing.
Yeah, anniversaries were disappointing. I don't know if that would be a spot on that list, because then we can include Atlas, we can include Last of Us, and we can include Zelda anniversary in there. I don't know what y'all think.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And
so we have 2 picks in there.
So we need one more.
I'll leave this to you two, because I already fought for some there.
What do you think, Phil?
Deathloop would be my number one, but I don't think it's gonna make it. Um, Honestly, I don't feel like the rest that we have. I feel like would be like a number three because like I personally don't feel too strongly about like any of these. Like the Atlas merch instead of Persona 6 is like, yeah, that's disappointing, but it's like whatever. And I feel the same way about like Factions and Japan Studio.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, because a lot of my disappointments are tied to like personal, like yours with Death. Like some of the disappointments from last year would be like Psychonauts 2 and Halo Infinite's kind of like trickle of progression in their progression system and stuff like that, and how they handled that. While the game itself is like so good, like the core gameplay is amazing, but the progression system is just hot butt cheeks.
Yeah.
When it
How
comes to other
about
stuff, though,
how this is a very controversial topic, and I'm not gonna get into it. I'm just gonna mention it, and y'all let me know if it's like a good pick for it. But it's disappointing the way that certain companies handled certain situations internally, specifically some involving, you know,
Well, Activision
more
oh,
Blizzard.
more legal.
yeah,
Yeah, the Activision Blizzard situation. I think that was extremely disappointing, in the way that a lot of things were handled and whatnot, and even to now, we're still having issues. So like,
yeah. Talk about making bad situations even worse, right?
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, if we want to put that, I feel like that's an easy number one.
easy number one. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, 100%.
yeah. I don't think anything tops that, honestly. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right.
So uh, that's obviously number one. How do you guys want to do the video game anniversaries and then Battlefield 2042?
In
Honestly,
that,
man,
for me, in that order.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And Soul specifically, I would play Anniversary number two, because Atlas is in there, and
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
All right. So, biggest disappointment of 2021 goes to Activision Blizzard. Uh, get your act together, guys.
Yeah,
And
man.
number two, video game anniversaries in 2021. And then number three is Battlefield 2042.
All right. This is no
Um,
claps for this. We just need a one sound.
yeah.
He comes back. I'm just
Oh
waiting for the
man.
seal now.
Yes, sir.
Um, okay. I'm really excited for this one. Let's talk about the best character of 2021.
Nice.
So for me, this one is weird, and I'm gonna leave a lot of mine out because they come from games that didn't come out in 2021. That I
We can do
exper.
that.
No. This is just like just quick shout outs, just quick shout outs.
Okay.
But obviously, this was the year of Resident Evil for me, where I played RE2 remake and 3 remake for the first time. So Leon, Claire, and Jill were awesome. I love them. The Mass Effect trilogy, obviously, right? So many characters to shout out, but I love like all of them in their own twisted weird ways. Jack, Liara, Grunt, Garrus, obviously. Yeah, fantastic characters. But the one that I really want to champion, and also Wall, I don't know how you would feel about this, but now I'm moving on to like 2021 characters. But Celine, I feel like Celine, I'm more interested. Like she was cool, but I feel like I'm more interested specifically in like the narrative of Returnal and like what exactly is happening, to Celine rather than like Celine herself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that Celine as it serves as a catalyst for a much more interesting scenario that's happening. So the narrative itself and how she ties into everything, because through her we're able to see the repercussions of Atropos and this loop and the monsters and how it all ties in. So I think that she was a good she was one of the best characters to make that served the purpose of the story better, if that makes any sense. You know?
She was like the vehicle to like get us.
but she was a
there.
good main vehicle because you don't just get on a on a Honda Civic. You have to get on like on a car that's like built. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was built for this. Not
Yeah.
trashing Honda Civics. I had one. I like them. Just as an example.
Yeah, it's yeah, who she is specifically, and learning about her past and trying to like piece together what that is, and like why she's in the loop, possibly why or potentially why she's in the loop specifically, is all like really like really crazy stuff, man. I'm still to this day, I'm not exactly. I just watched a few videos the other day about like possible theories on this game, and now I'm not even sure like what I believe in anymore. There's this new sort of like theory popping up that Celine was actually like a terrible mother, and essentially the astronaut, and I think we knew this, but the astronaut that you see like in the house and whatever is Celine, and essentially this thing where she basically like abused her child, and she was very bad to her child. And there's this one moment in when you're playing as the kid in the house that the kid is actually like running away and like going down the stairs, and the kid's like talking to like her little stuffed animal, and she's saying like, we have to be quiet, like the monster will hear us or something like that. And that's specifically referring to Celine, right? And there's like this one moment where the kid also like escapes into like the TV, so like kind of representing that like the kid, like her escapism was basically like stories and video games and things of that nature. And the astronaut in one moment actually like pulls the child out of the TV, so kind of representing like Celine like finding her kid and basically probably doing some bad things to her again. And the also the moment of the kid playing the PS5, and Celine is there ringing the doorbell. I don't know if you remember that moment, but people are saying that this it could actually be that the kid is actually putting is actually like dreaming up this scenario of her mother being the main character in this alien world, and essentially to like make her suffer, right? So yeah, there's just so many different possibilities with this game that I think is really cool. But I don't know if that necessarily has to do, maybe it does a little bit, but I don't know if that necessarily like 100% has to do with like Celine herself. So yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah, I wanted to shout out Celine, but like the main character I wanted to champion was Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. Macho, I don't know how you feel about her. Do you have a different favorite character from that game, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I think Gamora, she has such a spotlight in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think you and I both know the moment that we're really referencing when it comes to like her character arc, and really like her coming to terms of just being her, what's her role in this group, and what she's committed to and all that kind of stuff. So I think Peter gives a special highlight from me in that game, because I did not expect him to be as lovable as I didn't expect to really be invested in that character as much as I have, especially since I like the Peter from the movies.
And I don't, that's the crazy thing. I don't like the Peter in the movies, and this version I completely fell in love with.
Interesting. I saw that same sentiment regarding the cast, just like a lot of people not really enjoying the cinematic Guardians and actually being more invested in the video game. Granted, the medium is much more different. You're spending more time with these characters, but I see a lot of people that synergize a lot better with the Guardians game, Guardians. And not
yeah. For me, like, I think Peter's like such a highlight of that game, and one of my favorite characters from it too. But I would just say above them though, it would probably have to be Drax.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I haven't even been in the game, and just with the Drax, and this is granted, a lot of the preferences of this game isn't based because of my perspectives on the MCU. As much as I enjoy Dave Bautista and his his attempt at humor and whatnot, and how it all is endearing and whatnot, I think that this Drax is a lot more. There's a lot more depth to him. There's a lot more nuance to the way that he's portrayed, and they can do a lot more. It's a video game. Do you have a lot more time with him? You can explore his, the demise of his family and all this, and the way that he reacts to possibly seeing them again. So like it's a phenomenal portrayal, I think.
Yeah, it's like, to me, like the moment that stands out like on 100% is just when he's talking to Peter and Nowhere, and they're both having a conversation about death and their families, and specifically him and like how they both cope with it. And then just the one line that when Peter is leaving the conversation, Drax is trying to like understand Peter's ways of like grieving with his mother's death, and at the end when he walks away, he's saying, "I hope your mother found heaven." And to me, that moment just struck so hard, because that was like the connection that those characters I never saw coming happen, and it happened pretty early in the game.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I honestly struggled with, Gamora, Drax, and Star-Lord were like, I kept going back and forth in my head, with those three.
Yeah.
But also shout out to Rivet. I think Rivet is really cool and lovable. It's tough. Like, we've had how many years of Ratchet and Clank games, and with Ratchet specifically being the lead. So to introduce a new protagonist this late into the game, I feel like can be kind of tricky. But Insomniac nailed it, and it's to the point that like I wouldn't mind a Rivet and Kit game going forward. Instead of Ratchet and Clank.
Same. Yeah, I really love that duo.
And Kit, right? Kit was her name. She was cool.
Yeah, Kit. Mm-hmm.
She was cool.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in for best character Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission DLC. And thankfully it's a deal. I know it's a DLC, but there's some implications like game of the years and like what constitutes a game, stuff like that. But like I feel like DLC can be just as impactful. We felt that with Blood. Yeah, we felt that with Blood and Wine, The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare.
And it came out this year, so yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So Yuffie for sure from there, because Yuffie in the original, she's very hate or love kind of character because of her spunkiness. She's a bit of an attitude. She's young, so she's kind of seen like as a kid of the group, and she doesn't really have that much fleshing out of a character in the original. But for what it does, it's still good and it's fun. But in 7 Remake, it really like breaks down who is Yuffie and why she's like the way she is, and why she's so preppy, but also at the same time she's so encouraging, but she does have a dark past as well. And even like darker future because of what happens in this entire DLC. And to see her come from where throughout that adventure in the DLC, and then to eventually being like meeting up with her group somewhere down the line in part 2 is such a exciting thing. It's like watching the Avengers movies. It's like you see Iron Man, you see Thor, and you see Hulk, and you just can't wait to see them in Avengers. The same thing with this, where like you see all the characters from 7 Remake Part 1, you see Intermission DLC, and you see Yuffie, and you're like, man, I can't wait to see these characters just talk to each other, because it's gonna be a rowdy group. So I'm gonna put Yuffie in there. They somehow, some way, the Square Enix team just absolutely went above my expectations when it comes to kind of retelling, or showing in a different kind of way of how Yuffie is and who she is and what she's going to bring to the table.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great pick, man. Walt, what about you? You have any additions?
So I have 2 picks because, but these 2 picks they're great characters in their own manner. One of them being Alphen from Tales of Arise, and that's because I watch a lot of anime. And you see a lot of this archetype they try to portray this type of archetype, the hero that never gives up, and that they're born with this, or they're bestowed with this incredible power that they have to, they can utilize and whatever with no repercussions, and they always win in the end. And I think that Alphen is a good way of portraying that archetype with a little bit of nuance, in the sense that he doesn't feel pain. He has to understand what that's like, he has to still deal with repercussions to his body with a great power without knowing that it's doing damage. So he needs to rely on others to let him know when he's in danger, and he has to learn to trust, and he has to learn to step up to the challenge in moments of incredible despair when he's quite frankly, seen as a freak and as an outcast. And I think that the way that he's portrayed and the way that he overcomes adversity and he succeeds in gaining the trust of someone that is literally untouched and cannot be touched in any way. And he's the only person that can literally get to this person, being Shion. And the way that the relationship just evolves, I think that Alphen is and that anime, scenario and archetype and history with this type of character, I think that he's one of the better implemented and developed characters that 2021 offers in terms of breaking the mold with a certain type of archetype. I know the Macho played. Okay, yeah. I was gonna ask you, what do you think?
I agree. One of my other picks was Shion.
Shion, yeah, and quite frankly, one doesn't work without the other. If I was allowed, this is all for, our picks. I would put them as a duo, as like the best. Like if we had a best couples category, I would definitely put them number one. But definitely, Shion and Alphen, they complement each other so perfectly that the story would not function without one of them. The story only works because both of them work together the way that they do. So
yeah. I mean, I will give more credence to Shion just because of the burden she has to bear,
right?
And the literal like unpeeling of her character throughout the entire Tales of Arise journey is like absolutely incredible. Like we actually that's the one thing that makes Tales games so great, is that you really get down to the core of these characters that they feel like family. And Tales of Arise was like the one game where the characters felt like family to me in every sense of the word. And Shion being just such a big highlight of that because of just everything she had to burden and the journey she went through. And like you said, like her and Alphen are definitely a duo. Like one does not work without the other. So yeah, both of those characters are amazing.
Yeah. So honestly, by the end of this, I wouldn't be mad putting either Alphen or Shion. I'm just really impressed with how they handled an anime character archetype that usually is very boring. Because usually when you just make this, I'm never giving up, I need to save my people. But the way that they made him work is because of Shion. So yeah, it makes sense that Shion's is up there. Another pick I had, the only other pick I had, a very subtle pick in terms of how she was developed. And I think Kina, she is, the way that the story is built and the way that she's implemented, it very much go hand in hand. Because the story, of helping spirits and helping these two sides, the physical and the spiritual realm, and how much zen and compassion and understanding that takes, and how she actually rises up to that challenge, and how she learns from the past mistakes, and how she learns from her own obsession in the past and her own mistakes and what she was taught, and she learns from each individual person, what drove them to that brink of being corrupted and become, the spirits that they did, and helping them pass to the other side or be cleansed. I think that she was very well written for that purpose, and the way that she evolves very subtly throughout the game is impressive and very delightful. And the game itself, although hard as heck for the bosses, when it's just her and you're meditating and you're exploring, it's very zen. It's very calming, and I really enjoy that about that game when it's about her. Now, when fighting, it gets real, but what she balances that out with her very sublime and serene attitude.
Yeah, that's a good pick. All right, so our list goes as follows for the best character of 2021: Gamora, Yuffie, Drax, Rivet, Celine, Alphen, Shion, Kina, Star-Lord. I'm shocked you guys didn't put Lady Dimitrescu.
Because there's a couple of reasons why. Because like she's such a great character. Yeah, like she's such an imposing and like a force to be reckoned with in the village. But as far as best character, I don't think so.
Anything, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. If anything, if I'm gonna put anyone from Resident Evil, I'm putting Heisenberg. I'm not putting Lady Dimitrescu.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
Heisenberg was much more interesting in motivations and in the way that he reacted to like Ethan and what he was doing, and you know, if you're not gonna help me, then I'll put matters in my own hands. Lady Dimitrescu, she was amazing. Don't get me wrong, but no, no, I don't think that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, she doesn't hold.
I'm gonna add maybe two more here, and that's just because I'm going over my list here, and that's Agent 47 from Hitman 3 or the Hitman trilogy. Samus, Metroid Dread.
Ooh.
And
Nice.
Detective Yagami from Lost Judgment. That game's story and writing is just, it's another world, man.
Yeah.
And the way they handle his character and then, like the character arcs that they all go through, it's something I wanted to mention for sure.
Okay. So, I'm going to whittle down this list. I would cut, even though I really like Drax, I would cut Drax, Star-Lord, Rivet, and Selene, even though I love all those characters. Gamora is the one that I really want to champion because what I really enjoyed about her character was like the differences between her and like her MCU counterpart was specifically we really got to see this character in sort of like the quieter moments, like just her hanging around the ship. Like it was the small details of Gamora that really like struck with me.
Her toy collecting.
Exactly. Her being a collector of dolls. And it's a character trait that really sort of like it ties back to like the sort of like the biggest part of like her mission and like what ties her to Thanos and her sister. And it shows really that like Gamora, like she's not all about, you know, like combat and missions and violence and sort of like all that stuff, right? Like her reasoning for collecting dolls is basically like it's a large sort of like component of her sort of like personal goal of trying to stop tyrants from taking advantage of children like her father did with her and Nebula. So I really like that aspect of her, but I also like the fact that you know, we hear a lot about like what Thanos sort of like did to her and the training that she underwent. And like Thanos making her and her sister basically these hyper focused assassins and like what it required to be that. And then we hear about, you know, Mantis and sort of the influence that she had on Gamora's life and the fact that, you know, Gamora went along with Mantis to, I forget what planet it was called, but that planet with like the priests of like Palma or whatever. And basically Gamora went there to like learn how to meditate, right? And it was basically like her going there was a place where she could heal from everything that Thanos did to her, right? And at least to my understanding, that's something that the MCU version of the character like doesn't do, right? We don't see that version of her. So I really enjoyed Gamora for those moments of fleshing her out even more so than I feel like the MCU version does.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a great pick.
yeah. So I
Okay,
will.
so Rocket Raccoon.
So what characters do you guys think need to be on this list?
I would say some Final Fantasy 14 characters, but I'll be a spoiler for Wall, so I'm not gonna go there.
Over Yuffie?
Yeah. But again, I'm not gonna go into that's a conversation for another time when we can go into spoilers appropriately.
Yeah.
But for me, the characters that I would absolutely champion would be Yuffie, making a character I was not very likable, extremely lovable. It makes me super excited. It feels like we're getting our Avengers moment for Final Fantasy 7. The other would be Shion from Tales of Arise. For the same reason that me and Walt just already talked about. And, man, it's a tough one. Honestly, Samus from Metroid Dread. That would be my top 3.
I saw this moment of her like getting mad or something like that in Dread, right?
Dude, yeah, it's...
Dude.
Like,
It's
talk
insane
about...
how,
it's so cool.
how much how much personality she has without talking. It's amazing. It's insane.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
I feel like she has to be on the
she's
list.
yeah,
like her entire journey through Dread is she's just such a badass, man. Like in every sense of the word, and just the emotion she like you said, well, without even talking, just really through the eyes. Like so much emotion is in the eyes, and feel like that's such a compliment to the character and their legacy. And you see that in spades in Metroid Dread, man. It's so good.
absolutely. Yeah, my pick to solidify one of them at least. Shion all the way. To the point that we made and the back and forth we did, I wholeheartedly agree. She is an amazing character for the reason that we talked about. I would most definitely put Samus up there. Let me tell you, it's Metroid Dread. Samus is there. Soul agrees. So Samus is there. Now, here's what's interesting, right? I haven't finished Guardians, and I haven't played Intergrade. However, I know of both of these characters. So very much depends on what we agree on between Gamora and Yuffie to put, because they very much are like improvements upon past incarnations of these characters. It's interesting. Both of them are. It very much comes down to what you two think, because you two have put in the hours on these. I fought from Alpha, and then we got Shion, and I'm happy with Shion. I'm happy with Samus. I'm Nintendo. I love Metroid Dread to death. So
That's what I'm saying, because I thought we agreed on Samus first of all,
right.
and then Yuffie, or did we not?
So do we want to put a Yuffie up there?
I'm cool with putting Yuffie up there, but if it comes down to being Yuffie versus Gamora, I'm choosing Gamora.
Yeah, I'm choosing Gamora as well.
Okay. Gamora is my favorite of the Guardians, and just in general, like so, we can go Gamora.
So who's the third?
And if it was to be placed for, like Yuffie versus Samus, oh man, Yuffie's so cool, especially if they're ninja.
Is it Yuffie versus Samus or versus Shion? Because I don't know.
We still have a spot open. I mean, we could both have Samus and Yuffie if you want.
Yeah, then Shion would just be taken out.
It's up to you. Because I don't know. I don't know any of the Tails characters, so I'm leaning on you guys.
Honestly, Macho, I don't know about you, but we're then fighting against as Samus packs so much in such a little time. However, Shion is developed in a larger spectrum of time.
Right.
What are your thoughts on it?
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah, because Samus is like the badass hero that you want to be for Halloween or something like that. But beyond like her crazy sci-fi adventure where she solidified how cool she is, I don't know the core of her like that.
Exactly. We know Shion. We literally have to play the game better, and we go from a badass, I do everything myself to a more, I have this burden, and that's why I have to push people away. So
yeah, and then go into the I have a family now, I can let them in. Kind of
exactly.
Thing.
So
yeah.
put Yuffie, Shion, and Gamora.
Yeah,
right.
I think those are good 3 picks. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's what I'm talking about, man. Good, strong female leads. That's what we need. That's what's up. Fucking love it.
Shout out to Master Chief as well. He was pretty cool this year.
Yeah, man. A lot of character.
How do we rank this?
For me, it's gonna be as far as the ranking. I think a good ranking for me would be I'm trying to think. Well, go dance, monkey dance.
Okay, so honestly, from what I played, and this is personal, I would put Shion, Gamora, and Yuffie. That's my order, 1 to 3. But it's because I haven't played Intergrade, so I don't know how this Yuffie is.
I would actually agree with that.
I think I would have put Gamora, Yuffie, Shion.
Gamora, Yuffie, Shion. Okay. Why would you put Yuffie over Shion?
Just because I've seen more of her character.
Okay. So we know. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, like I know, like I don't know anything aside from what you guys told me
Okay,
about Shion.
and and to be fair, I know about Yuffie. Macho definitely knows Yuffie, and
Yeah,
Soul
man,
knows about
he's got a
Yuffie.
body pillow for in his bed.
Relax. That's for the flower girl. Relax.
Oh
Hey
man.
yo, so yeah, I mean honestly, I'd say put her in second because unanimously we know collectively more about her than we do about Shion because that's more Macho and I. So I'm just happy Shion's there. I'm happy Shion made it up there.
I mean,
Yeah.
Macho, are
Yeah.
you are like how are you feeling? Do you want Shion or Yuffie number one instead, or
I actually agree more with Walt's ranking. Like I love Shion as number one and Gamora as number two. And then yeah, I'm okay with Yuffie being number three too because hey, she's in top three, so I'm cool with that. I did not expect that
Yeah,
going into
yeah.
this conversation. To be really honest with you.
all right?
Very
Okay,
nice.
so best character of 2021. Jesus Christ, I just died. Is I was not paying attention. Is Shion. Number two, Gamora, and number three is Yuffie. Congratulations, Tales of Arise and Shion.
Hell yeah.
That sounded like a car driving on the highway for a second, man. All right, so I feel like we should do one last category because we've been going on for a minute. I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you guys want to do for the final category?
Oh, actually, hold on. Let me look back on our DMs here, and I can let you know.
There's still a couple. We can do.
Oh yeah, I know.
We can do the remaining next time. Then we just speed through them and then talk about the game of the year 10 we have.
What the hell?
Wait, what was your suggestion?
That we could leave the other portion of the categories for next Saturday and then speed run through them a little bit and then go to our top tens.
Oh man, I don't know if that's gonna happen. We we took a while with our top 10 PlayStation games.
Yeah, you're right.
I think if we're gonna do one more category, I think it should be it's either a game that had no right to be so good or a game that we recognize as good but didn't play.
Okay. Let's.
Unless you had something else in
No, no,
mind.
no, no. I like those.
Okay.
I mean, which one are you leaning towards?
Game that we recognize as good but didn't play.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's a good bit.
All right. So, yeah, our final category for the day is the game that we recognize as probably good but didn't play. I have a few. I have three actually. So first one is Guilty Gear Strive.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Yeah. I really want to play that game, but I probably won't. Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village, obviously. That damn baby is keeping me from getting to see Lady D. You know, it is what
It's
it is.
okay. It doesn't call you daddy, man. It doesn't call you daddy. It's all right.
It is what it is, man.
If it did, it was weird.
And then the last one is Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye. That's man, dude, that game, the way that game is talked about is like, it's like one of the greatest games ever made. It's this really interesting time loop game of like, you're this like space explorer. You're on this planet that has like, I think it's like a 22-minute loop or something like that. Time loop.
Another loop game, man.
Yeah. So every 22 minutes, like I think it's like the entire universe or that planet like basically explodes or whatever, and you have to start over from the beginning. So again, you know, classic time loop kind of thing. You take what you learn from each sort of loop and you apply it to the next one. But I think the way that I've heard that it utilizes its loop is like what makes it so unique and cool. And the DLC really builds upon that. So that's one of the games, like out of the three I just listed, that's the game I want to play the most. Yeah, those are my picks.
Mine would be Kana. I did not get a chance to actually dive into that. I did play it, but like not to the degree that I wanted to, and I think because I just wasn't in the mood for it. So once I actually get into the rhythm of an action platformer, I want to dive into that because that all I hear is great things, and it won 2 Game of the Year awards, not Game of the Year, but like Indie Game of the Year and Best Debut Game, which I think is a really good accomplishment for the studio's first game.
Yeah.
The other is Persona 5 Strikers. As someone that loved Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, even though I was a little burnt out by the Persona 5, like the kind of like, Persona 5 universe in general, after Royal, I still want to go back to Strikers because those characters are just so inviting and ecstatic. Like I want to be in that world again, especially with the beautiful art style that Persona 5 has. And the other game that, oh god, I just had it in my head. God, I just had it in my head for a game that well, I'll think of it.
Okay. One of my picks, which I don't think I'll get around to it, but I know it's a fantastic installment in the franchise. Forza Horizon 5. Never got around to it, but I know that praises, and I know that the gameplay and the visuals and the way that game runs and the sound design and everything just synergizes beautifully. Don't think I'll get around to it though. Not.
Oh man, you gotta try at least just once.
Yeah, I have games now that have more priority, but it's on Game Pass. So, there's Inscription. I don't know if y'all heard of this game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I am dying to get my hands on that game. I just have not found myself getting to it because of other games that I've had on my radar. But I am really interested in that video game. I hear the story is insanely phenomenal and just so well crafted, and the narrative is beautiful. It's super story rich. And another, yeah, I guess you could call it its own game, Integrate. I haven't gotten around to Integrate. And I know, enough said there. We've talked about Integrate. We know it's a fantastic addition to the FF remake. It's a great expansion. So that would be my other pick. And as a little honorable mention, I would say Psychonauts 2, as much as, Macho, you've talked about the game and how while it hit a lot of good marks, at the end it kind of fell a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It still is a game that a lot of people praise, and I recognize that it's a game that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time, and it actually delivered on a lot of good things. So, and it's on. Is it on Game Pass?
Oh yeah, of course.
Dude, look at that.
Best deal in gaming.
Best deal in gaming, man. But yeah, those would be my picks. Those would be my picks.
And I did remember my last pick, and that was the Forgotten City.
Yes.
While not like a big time, I'm not the big time loop kind of person. It's still like, from what I hear, that game hits the notes on what I want delivered in a video game nowadays, and that's story and writing and unforgettable moments. So that's one I want, and it's in Game Pass too, I believe right now. But that's like a game like Scarlet Nexus, where I'll probably try it out in Game Pass, and then if I really like it, I'll just buy it.
Best deal in gaming.
Or if I even see if I see a sale on a game, I'll just buy it outright, because that's a game that I know I can get invested into, especially hearing all the praise, not only from Soul, but from our good friend Dr. Mo from the Backlog Chronicles podcast, and even Lord Cognito. He champions that game too. So it's a good word all around for that.
Smart people. So
yeah, those are highly intelligent individuals.
For sure. So I'm interested how exactly we even go about talking about this category, or whittling it down. So
I mean, this one could be somewhat personal, right? Or do we just want to keep it official and be like, this is the official DSS games we missed?
I don't know, it's interesting because some of these games, obviously you guys have played Resident Evil Village, so I think honestly, we gave out our own personal picks, but I think it'd be smarter if we chose games that all three of us together have not played. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't make sense that games we recognize as probably good but didn't play, but then a few of us have played that game. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't make sense to
Right.
put that on our list.
Right.
Okay.
So whittle down from each list the ones that another one has played, and just keep ones that no one has played.
All right. So I'm taking off RE Village, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So
take
obviously,
down Forza.
okay.
Take down Integrate.
Has anyone played Guilty Gear?
Macho
I played the beta, but that's about it. But that
Okay,
is a
that-
game.
that
When
doesn't
biking
count.
comes, when biking comes, that's a game I want to play.
Okay.
I don't know if a beta would count, but would it count in this case?
No, it's not the full game. They made a lot of changes since then.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll leave
Then
it.
keep Guilty Gear. Keep Forgotten City out of there because I know you played the heck out of it. So
Yeah.
Well, what was some of yours?
Inscription was the
Right. I have not
was
played
one of
that.
Yeah,
I
me
haven't
neither.
played it either.
I think
and I feel like I need a little more convincing to play it, but I don't know.
It's
I recognize
basically
that it's good.
no. I think that absolutely should make our list because it's a card building game or
Card
whatever.
builder, yeah.
But the way that people talk about that game, like it has won several Game of the Year awards. Alana Pierce said that that's her personal Game of the Year. Like a lot of people love Inscription. So and specifically like I got myself spoiled by one of the podcasts that I was listening to, just like having them talk
man.
about it. I still want to play it, but like some of the moments that they were describing is honestly like Kojima-esque, like Psycho Mantis level of like insane. If you know what I mean by that, like having you
So-
do like in real life things that
You're going-
translates into the game.
You are going to love Doki Doki Literature Club.
Okay.
You're going to. It
Okay.
has that kind of flavor.
Oh man, now I gotta play Doki Doki Literature.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm cool with description being on there. Then yeah.
Yeah, because not necessarily we need convincing, but we at least we got recognize that it's praised and it's good by a lot of standards. Whether we prefer to play it or not, that's a whole different kind of worms, I think.
yeah. Okay, so Inscription's on the list.
Yeah, obviously, Forgotten City and Kane are out there because you guys played that.
Right. And then we have Guilty Gear on there as well.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's a good one. Destruction Knock Stars. We didn't play that game this year or last year.
What the hell?
What the
Bro, even I'm fault to that. I played a little bit of that game.
hell? I know, just kidding.
Oh man.
I mean, the only other one was the Outer Wilds DLC that I mentioned, but
Yeah, I haven't played that one. I want to
mean-
play it.
Well, one game actually that I think could be really good on his list. I don't know about you, Soul, because I don't think you like this franchise or are a fan of it. But Monster Hunter Rise. That's
But-
one game that I really wish I played the past year, but didn't.
Right. But again, we recognize the soul. Do you recognize that game as being good?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't hear people like talking about it like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I recognize it's probably good, but like Monster Hunter World, you know what I mean? Like people like I just feel like I don't hear like the same like love, for those two. You know what I mean? Like the love
That's
is
fair.
different.
Right.
But if you guys want to put it, then I'm cool with it.
Right, because I recognize it as good. It was a contender for like one of the Game Awards categories. It made it there for a reason. And people they don't talk about it like World was a game changer, but it's still kicking. And now Monster Rise came to PC. A lot of people have been waiting for that. I know Macho personally has been, I think, waiting for that to hit PC. So
yeah. Yeah.
I recognize it as good. I just haven't played it. I don't think I will because it's a time-consuming game, very time-consuming. But yeah,
Is Outer Wilds something you really feel like that should be on the list though? So.
I mean, yeah. Well, if we don't have like anything else to put, then
right.
yeah, it's cool. I don't know if you guys watch Skill Up on YouTube. But like he swears that that's like his favorite game of all time.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, again, like out of this list, that's the game I want to play the most.
Okay. Okay.
So
I would say, and we're doing 3, right?
yeah, I would have brought up Shin Megami Tensei 5, but obviously you played that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But you should play it when you get a Switch, if you get a Switch.
Yeah, like that's happening.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, man. So we should do this. Macho, think of a game that neither of us has played, but you really want to play. Because I really want to play Inscription.
Man, that's hard.
Soul
That's a
Soul
tall
really wants
task.
to play. Soul really wants to play Outer Wilds. What's a game that you really want to play, but neither 3 of us has played?
I'm just gonna refer to a list of games that we wish had more time to play because I'm not sure.
Okay, how about we just like we got our 2, right? Inscription and Guilty Gear. How about for number 3, we all just like put in, a game from our personal list that we recognize as good, but we haven't played personally.
Okay.
Like you know what I mean by that? So like I guess like Inscription and Guilty Gear represents us, like as a podcast, and then number 3 we can just
Right.
put like our personal pick.
But what about Outer Wilds? Are we not putting that one?
I mean,
No, that'll be his personal pick.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
yeah.
But I haven't played it.
Yeah, but like, do you guys feel like that strongly about like putting it on there? Like, is it a game that you guys would
Gotcha,
actually
gotcha.
like play? You know what I mean?
Okay. So 3rd will be personalized. Okay, yeah,
Sure.
we can do that. Okay.
Yeah, because personally, I wouldn't really play Outer Wilds.
Right.
Like how you wouldn't
Gotcha.
really play Monster Hunter Rise.
Right.
Gotcha.
So like, for instance, Walt, like, would yours be Forza Horizon 5?
If we're going by personal ones that I really would want to play, and stick with me on this, I'll put Mario Golf, the golf game, the golf Mario game.
You gotta be kidding me, dude.
Mario
Dude.
Golf, man.
Mario, dude. Wait,
Mario Golf. Yeah, you want to get on the
yo.
green with Princess
Hey,
Peach
yo.
and Luigi
Hey, yo.
and hit some
Don't
golf
hate
balls
me.
around.
Oh no, listen, no.
No way.
No,
Man, get this man up off the podcast, man.
It's Intergrade. It's Intergrade.
Okay.
I haven't played
That's
Intergrade.
better.
I got the steel book. I have the steel book, and I don't even have the game. I don't
Hey
even
man,
have
don't
Inter-
front. You only pay like $10 for that. I know the story.
I
You
didn't
pay
pay.
full
I
70
didn't
for
pay.
that.
I didn't pay for the steel book. I got it for free from GameStop.
Macho. I love how we just bullied this man into changing his pick.
'Cause I know how much y'all are with Nintendo. I want to say that.
Man, that's one of the games that we forgot came out this year.
Anyway, so all right, so yours would be Intergrade. Mine is out the Outer Wilds DLC, Echoes of the Eye. Macho, what about you?
Mine, I mean, I would have chosen for the Forgotten City, but there's one game above that I really wanted to play at the end of 2021, never got the chance to. Ender Lily's Quietus of the Night.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I heard that's like for people that love Hollow Knight, like myself. That's a game that everybody should get into for the music and the visual stuff like that. So yeah, I think that would be my personal.
Yeah, good pick.
Good.
All right.
pick.
So yeah, that's so for our kind of collective list. It's Inscription and Guilty Gear, and then Ender Lilies for Macho for his personal pick. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade would be Waltz, and mine would be the Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye. All right. That's gonna do it for this week's podcast, our game of the year 2021 extravaganza, whatever we want to call it.
Our longest podcast to date.
Yeah, man. So next week the plan is obviously to give our personal top 10 list, as well as talking about our picks for most anticipated for 2022. So that should be fun. But yeah, man, let's get started with these outros. Macho, what's going on with you, man? You got anything planned this week?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Final Fantasy 7 Remake concert is in line. We're excited. That's tonight, baby. I'm excited. It's gonna be tons of fun and mostly just Final Fantasy 14 stuff. And I'm thinking actually about this weekend getting into a game I had of my backlog for some time. I'm in the mood for it after some It Takes Two platforming. Crash 4. It's about time. I believe the title's called. I want to see if I can start up the next adventure of Crash Bandicoot this weekend. So
Very nice.
Interesting.
yes, sir.
Don't get too attached, because Activision's not making another one.
Oh, man, no. Rest in peace, Toys for Pops.
All right, Walt, what about you, man? What's going on?
My boy. I really have not much planned. I mean, this week is pretty mild, pretty chill. Gonna be getting more hours into FF14, hopefully. Getting through that Realm Reborn, and can't wait to get myself into Heaven's Ward eventually. Gonna be focusing a lot more on slowly chipping in at this game and slowly getting forward and forward more. I want to be able to play as a goal. I don't know how realistic it might be, but by the end of this year, hopefully, I'll get to Endwalker. We'll see.
Yeah, you could definitely do it.
I just have to commit to this chipping by the time.
Yeah,
aside
I'll
from-
give you some tips to help you out with that.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. We got some talking. And It Takes Two. We got to play more of that. Aside from that, man, just getting ready to... I'm getting rid of some games from my backlog. So getting rid, I mean, like, I'm taking care of the shorter games that I can beat in, like, one sitting. Because I'm getting ready for February.
God damn,
Got a
dude.
couple...
Yes.
I'm buying a game
February-
like every week that month, I think.
Dude. It's gonna be insane. So I'm getting
Seafood,
ready for
Dying
that.
Light, Horizon, Elden Ring. Like, come on, man.
Oh! We eating good.
I'm getting giddy just thinking about it, man.
Right?
Dude.
Yeah, man. But doing that, doing more at level 1 this year. I'm gonna be more consistent with level 1 gaming, so be on the lookout for that. I did a piece on a comparison on Twitter. Y'all can check out level 1 game. Not gonna get into it. Aside from that, more video games, man, and not new year, new me, but new year and more consistency in a lot of things. So just focusing on that.
Nice.
How about you, boy?
Yeah, as for me, probably just more Dragon Age, just as I kind of wait for Dying Light. I think Dying Light's the first one up in February, so
I think it's like the 4th or something like that.
yeah, it's early, man. So yeah, it's gonna keep me busy until Dying Light comes out, because man, dude, can you imagine if that game actually ends up bad? I'm so excited for this game, but
I would cry.
I think I would too, man. If the reviews,
I would be
if the reviews end up, it's like a goddamn like 62 on Metacritic, man. Like I honestly feel like with the development hell that this game has been under, like it could go either way. I'm like actually kind of scared, but we'll see. But yeah, man. Probably more Dragon Age, and probably chipping away at Pray for the Gods a little bit more, and who knows if I get back into Doki Doki, because it's really tough, man. Visual novels, there's no voice acting in it either, so I'm like, oh man. It's
a lot of fun though. Like, trust me, you're gonna get invested if you like take your time. Like, don't try to like take it all in. Try to take every single piece of dialogue and like try to get invested, and you'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, man, that's it for me, and that's it for us, man. Thank you guys for watching. If you managed to sit through any bit of this, I congratulate you. I thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate that, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.